our handsome faces. Well, your handsome face, my face. I don't know so much. Oh, hello, everybody. We're live. And I told Tom, hey, my shirt almost kind of matches this backdrop, his new color. So, hey, that's awesome. Starting off to a good start, matching. So
I made it just about on time, so
yes,
that's good.
he did. So Selena is going to be hanging out, but she's editing some videos. So she's going to be lurking. Oh, there she is. She's like, hi. Hello, Selena, my dear. And I just kind of, I woke up with a bum shoulder this morning and it's still a little sore, but I slept for on and off for most of the day and I was just full of energy. And I'm like, hey, Tom, what you up to tonight? So I got him at an opportune time. So,
There you go. You caught me. You caught me off guard.
I caught him off guard.
In an agreeable state.
Mm.
A rarity.
And I ended up watching that first episode of that Hellier. So for people who didn't why when Stephen was on last night, Tom wasn't joining us or gracing us, as they say, with his presence. He was actually watching something called Hellier, and he sent me a link, and I'm glad I clicked on it. I wouldn't have missed that either. This is really cool. It looks like they've got 2 seasons. It said.
Yeah.
So I
third is in works right now.
Is what? The third?
The third is in the works right now.
Okay. So are they going to stay at that same location for the entirety of their for people who don't know? Maybe this is how we'll start. I'll open it up to Tom to explain, what it is that, we're talking about. But it's very interesting. I like the production. It's not too over the top. It's not like, blah, blah, you know what I mean? It's just done nicely. It's paced well, and it seems to be researched well. So, and really quick. We have Jess here, witchy best friend. Hello, Jess. And let's see, what does Selena say? I've been on and off napping all day too.
Me too.
So yeah, got to catch up on that rest. And Maruta, is here. Hello, Maruta. And I watched the rest of the show last night with you and Hershey. Wow, that was something else. Hershey sharing her story. I highly recommend.
I need to go back and actually watch it. I wasn't listening to it at all.
So it was good. So alrighty, Hellier, in between bites of yogurt.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with me enjoying my frozen yogurt, my soupy frozen yogurt. So Hellier is a show done by the Newkirks, who run the Museum of the Paranormal. But it's a show that I forgot when it came out. It came out years ago.
I think it was 2015. They started.
Well, the events it was recorded mainly in like 2017, I think. But I don't think it was released until 2019, if I remember correctly. And then a couple years later, there's season 2 came out. And now they're working on season 3. But yeah, it's a show that kind of goes all over the place. I highly recommend it to everybody. It's really. It starts off about basically the Kentucky Goblins, the basically similar case to the Hopkinsville Goblins cryptid story, but basically they got a email about these little beings, and they, through a course of reasons, I don't want to spoil too much.
Yep, no spoiler alerts, but it's it's interesting.
Yeah, so they go and start researching this, and they end up going to the town of Hellier, Kentucky. But it starts going in
paranormal loosely, because right now under paranormal they seem to lump things like cryptids. Now it's not just like ghosts; it's cryptids and aliens and things.
Yeah, so. I mean, this starts off as about cryptids, but it goes
apparently to aliens.
Way off. Yeah, it goes into aliens, ultra-terrestrials, goes goes very heavily into the occult and magic and stuff. So, but I don't want to get too.
And if Tom gives it 2 thumbs up,
yeah,
and you know how he's kind of on the cusp of, you know, what's real, what's not, what's possible, what's not. You know, it's got to be a good show, and I know I'm enjoying it. I told Shannon, I said, "Okay, you want to sell?" He goes, "No, I like this. I want to watch it." So it even gets 2 thumbs from Shan.
All right. Well, we'll see we'll see when it gets a little bit later.
Oh, really?
There's some stuff in it that you might not like, but.
Oh, I want to talk about the occult and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm being more open-minded. I'm trying to, you know.
It gets a little bit into Crowley and stuff. So, I mean, especially in the second season.
That in that one interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things with ink and black and all that good stuff. But I mean, you know, I had I was talking about, Santa Muerte last night, about things I felt so far that I read in that book. And, you know, Selena, Jonathan Daly was there, having an open conversation. So I like it when people can share observations or concerns, or just looking for, like, hey, can y'all give me a kind of a roadmap of how much this could be accurate or it's not, and still be, again, on the same page, respectful of, you know, what it is that we, you know, do or don't believe in. So again, I like that we can have those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that I don't believe in or agree with, but you know, generally we'll have conversations around it. Here, I'm going to put the
the link.
I'll put it in the chat.
And like I was telling Tom backstage, it's like, it's not like over the top. I know some shows can be kind of like, you know, they go through all these interviews and it's all drawn out, and you're kind of like 10 minutes later, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's actually, to me, I think it's, you know, well done. It's edited, it's well paced.
Oh, it's beautifully shot. It's beautifully edited. They did a really good job with it. They talk about it a little bit in the show. I'm assuming you probably already got to where they talked about it, but 2 of the guys that are involved really with the production, but also a part of the main cast, really, Carl and Connor they were doing a lot of work at the Stanley Hotel.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're actually the inventors of the Estes method, which will feature prominently in this.
I know when I saw that, when they mentioned that you know, a lot of, we were like deleting, or, you know, what we got, and when they're showing, and people don't know what the Estes method is when you go in to do a paranormal investigation, and your eyes are covered and your ears are covered, so you can't hear what questions your fellow, you know, researchers are asking, and anything that you get, you just repeat whatever you hear. Now, what sometimes I'm confused with, and maybe Tommy can explain, is what exactly are they, if their ears are being blocked off in their eyes, so what are they hearing? Is it like a microphone inside the headphone that the spirit uses, like a spirit box, or how are they? Oh, he's coming right back. So
yeah, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So again, I'll just kind of explain. So you'll be seeing investigations where the investigators have their eyes completely covered, and they'll have, you know, headphones on to block out all. It's basically blanking out your senses, and however that sound, when if a researcher asks a question to the spirit, whatever they hear in their headphones, boom, is what they respond with. So they don't know how, they're just saying whatever comes in. So what are they hearing? Where's that coming from?
So it's the spirit box that they're listening to.
Attached to the headphones. Okay.
Yeah, in the headphones. Usually a spirit box, or some instances people might use just white noise and stuff like that. But yeah, it's generally like a spirit box or a Frank's box or something. But I mean, and that's obviously, there's open to interpretation of like how you use that, in the sense of, you know, are you just listening to snippets of, you know, radio chatter, or, you know, ideally you want to listen to kind of like what's going on between that. Selena, if you were at the Stanley and you did a ghost tour or something, you may have actually it might have been done by either Carl Connor. I think they were doing the ghost tours and stuff. It depends on when. It was. This might have been years ago. I don't know. It depends on when you went.
Very cool. And Sylvia's here. Hello, Sylvia.
But it's a really good show.
Yeah, you see Michelle Bellinger doing it, covering the eyes, and Katrina Wyman. She's on her own now with another cohort of hers. Her name is Heather, and they go to places and they'll do the same thing too. And I always wondered, and Kindred Spirits, when Amy and Adam still had their show before they were canceled because of financial constraints from Travel Channel. Anyway, and they were, and I think they were the first ones I saw that did it, and I'm like, what is this? And then I seen the rest start to trickle in and start using it.
Well, you may recognize Dana and Greg Newkirk were on Kindred Spirits a few times too. The people from Hellier.
That's why they looked familiar.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe it was just because I had caught something. Like one of the guys looked a little familiar. I'm like, kind of, but you see so many paranormal shows. You figured you caught them on somebody's, but you just can't remember, all the names. And let's see. Selena said, I didn't do a tour, unfortunately. It was about 6 years ago, but I felt a lot of shiz being there. Holy heck, a lot of shiz. And hello, Vegas.
Just get messy.
Hello, my dear friend. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. I hope you're having a beautiful day in Asha. I always love saying that to him. I even love saying the word Asha. It sounds like divine feminine. It's a beautiful, beautiful word.
Right, so, I'm going to run off for 1 second to throw this in the freezer. So give me.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't want frozen yogurt to turn to syrup. It doesn't taste that way. So Asha that's beautiful. So yeah, Tom put the link in the chat, and I'll wait till he comes back before. I think I might have already shared this. I'm not sure. But when Tom comes back, I'm going to share what Shan and I plan on doing in October for our anniversary. We are going to be celebrating our 24th year and starting our 25th. It's hard to believe, and as you can see, our internet is a lot stronger now after the 5th try with the Top Tech. She's got us in a good spot now, so everything should be running smoothly. I'll be able to hosting more shows. And when Tom comes back, I can maybe also announce a special show that him and I would like to do together. And hello, Lexi, Miss Lusciousness of over 800 subscribers, my dear. Congratulations again. Pretty soon you'll be like our fellow reader, Amanda. She goes by Tropical Empress and Spirit. And when she joined, she just did straight up YouTube. And from what I understand now, I think Amanda's up to like 5,000, I think, subscribers. So when you go straight through YouTube, YouTube really pushes you into the algorithm. So yes, Megas, we're all very proud of her. So keep up doing what you're doing. And so yeah, it was a cool day here today. Finally got some rain after a couple weeks or so. It's beautiful to see the clouds covering the mountains, and it was a little bit of a chill, so it kind of felt like a early spring, late fall today. And I'm hoping that the weather holds up for the solstice celebration that's supposed to be at Lithia Park that I would like to go tomorrow. So yeah, she's over 5,000. Yep, I gotta drop in some night now that I'm behind everybody. I can pop in when I'm still awake and say hi, because it'll be late her time. So again, that's the only thing that throws me off a little bit is the time difference. But and we have Miss Lexi join us.
Hey, Lexi.
And so what I wanted to share until you came back is for our anniversary, I want to rent out Shan's bedroom that he grew up in at the Macaulay House in Jacksonville. This is where he saw the spirit of the young child when he was younger. They would hear things. We didn't bring that up when we were talking to the manager, not the owner, but the manager, because the owner is out of state, and we're going to see if we can book for around October 10th. Between October 10th and 12th is when we generally celebrate, and I'm going to be doing a live reading in the Macaulay House in our guest room with my cards to see if we can maybe figure out who Shan saw, or see anybody is still there.
That's cool.
So we're excited about that. So I don't know if I've announced that yet on any of my other shows, because they've been a little spotty because of the internet. But
it's better now.
It's much better now, and I'm looking forward to spending the night. Who knows? Maybe they might even give us a couple days, seeing that was the house that Shan grew up in, and all the information that he can share with the owner. When we were there, we talked to a couple guests. The guests were like, yeah, come in one of the rooms. Do you recognize this room? And Shan was like, well, the bathroom wasn't there, but this was here. And everybody, that we did talk to that day, enjoyed hearing, him talking about, his grandmother and his mom and stuff. And the woman in charge of the manager of the place, actually her grandmother used to talk and hang out with Shan's grandmother. And so she was just like, wow. She goes, I'm a Schaefer. And Shan's like, okay, I remember grandma hanging out with a Schaefer. So very, very cool. So
wow.
We're looking forward to doing that in October. So
very cool.
What I also wanted to bring up, and I'm going to wait to see what Tom thinks, is about the tarot rings, about a certain deck creator from the Toth deck. Is it all right if I bring that up, or do you want to wait until or should we let people what their appetites are?
You can bring it up, yeah.
Okay. So I am excited. This was something that I came up with. I thought of before we left, like several weeks before we left New York for here. And Ramon Moonscarab is on board with me to do the other deck creator, Pamela Smith Coleman. But I said, Tom, I know you're not quite sure about afterlife or what's what, but would you be interested in doing a show where we pull cards and see if we could speak to Lady Freda Harris and see what she thinks about, the history, the legacy her deck has left. Maybe ask questions about the artwork and why she chose certain things, or what she felt about while creating those. Anything around the times. We haven't quite fleshed out the questions, but Tom thought that was awesome, and so did Ramon.
I think it'd be cool. I think it's a cool idea.
It's a cool little experiment. I've done that on on my past channels with other readers, pulling cards and seeing, try to connect with those that crossed over, that were celebrity or whatever. And I thought, well, why not two of the major deck creators that have left a legacy of history? And if somebody can think of another deck creator, maybe even Marie Lenormand, though I know Ramon would be like, no, I want to do Lenormand too. But I figured, that Ramon loves, Pamela, Coleman Smith so much, and prefers, the RWS over the Top deck. I brought it up to him and he was like, yes. And I said, well, I'm going to ask Tom if he wants to do. And he's like, yeah. So, yeah. So everybody stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And,
coming soon.
Tom and I will, hatch out a date. It may take a while because a lot of people are busy and people are going on
I'm
summer
super
vacation
busy
and stuff right now. So, but yeah, I'm totally looking forward to doing that and seeing what we get. So
yeah, I'm curious. I mean, that's not usually my jam about, like,
that's why I was saying,
contacting the
if you
dead,
are
but
interested,
yeah,
but it being the talk, I mean, I may even have to get the deck myself.
there you go. Yeah, it'll be weird because I don't think I've ever read with the Thoth online. I might not even use. I probably won't use my original deck. I'll probably use one of the.
Because I'm wondering what she would think, if especially you're reaching out to talk to me and you're using some other artist deck. What's
Well,
going
no,
on?
I'll just use one of the newer versions of it, not my original one, because the one I bought was the first deck I ever bought.
Is that your greenie that you talked about?
Yeah, it's my greenie. It's an 86 greenie. I bought it in like 89 or 90. I don't remember when, but I still have it. I still use it, but I really only use it for myself. So
that must have been the deck that I was introduced to in high school when we had that poetry teacher come and do that workshop with John and I when she pulled out her Thoth deck. So that was actually that wasn't in 86. That was in 88, late 88.
yeah, but it's probably similar time.
So it's probably the same deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. So we had someone else join us. Janet Lee is here.
Hey, Janet.
Hello, Janet. I hope everyone's having a wonderful summer solstice this weekend. And for my Wiccany and Pagany fellows who celebrate Litha, I hope you're having a beautiful Litha as well this weekend. Usually we splurge and get a bottle of mead, but not this year. But I do have something with honey. I have my green tea and honey, so I'll celebrate that way. Now, do you celebrate, Tom, the solstice? Your spiritual practices or anything? Or
I mean, I recognize it. I don't do anything to mark the occasion, but I don't really do that for any holiday in any way, really. I'm not a big tradition type person in that way.
Okay, because I figured with the solstice and people talking about the power of balance, and that would be something that a ceremonial magician, kind of like yourself, unless you don't consider yourself ceremonial, so you may have to remind me and refresh my memory. But if that's something that ceremonial magicians or chaotic.
I don't necessarily consider myself that, but
a ceremonial.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I recognize. I mean, especially with the seasons and everything, I do recognize the power change, the shift. The switch in like the rebirth and everything, this time of the year and everything. I do recognize that, but I don't do anything specifically in my practice, at least anymore. I used to be a little bit more, but not so much anymore. Me too. I don't really.
I've gotten very lazy. For me, I'm calling myself lazy. I've gotten very I've lost connection. I've lost momentum. I've lost motivation when you're not quite sure what you're believing or what's what. And you kind of, well, for me personally,
I'm in a similar boat and I think in a different way, but I used to be very active in it. And then I spent a long time not, but still there, still studying, still, I call it my armchair years. I really wasn't actively doing, I mean, I was, but not in a, because in my mind, everything that you do.
What caused the shift?
Just working.
Too much. Okay, yeah.
And a real job.
Well, life and work. And
life,
yes.
Yeah.
I totally
it just, it took a lot out of me.
Because it's very involved. Because I used to, learning, okay, you got to have your altar look like this, and then you have to do this, and then you have to go to here. After a while, it was just like, oh my, it just became like a burden, and I didn't want my spiritual practice to feel like a burden or me double guess myself because I'm like, oh shit, I messed something up, and then it will throw off the. You
Well,
know
and
what I mean?
that's the point. Like, it shouldn't be a burden, like you're saying. But also, like, you don't need to get hung up on particulars. And I think this is why I don't necessarily like. It's why I don't consider myself a ceremonial magician in that sense, because I don't feel like you need to say things in this certain way with this certain intonation and blah 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 blah. You know,
That was how my books were. Yep.
yeah. Like, I don't want to get like hung up on that, because honestly, it's the intention behind your actions. It's the like, you can, I mean, you could do magic in any way you want. Like, so, like, I get the reasoning for ritual. I like ritual. I think in my life, I definitely have rituals.
Well, it's part of your channel name.
Exactly. I don't necessarily have a fully fleshed out praxis at this point. I I'm still trying. I'm back trying to figure out things again.
Me too. Well, we have to grow. We have to change.
Yeah, yeah,
We
exactly.
become stagnant, and I think that's what it was. I was becoming stagnant. I, would make a mistake during saying a spell or saying a invocation or something, and I would start, bringing that negative energy, like, oh, am I going to, displease, or embarrass myself, or just, you know what I mean? It was just to the point where it just became intimidating, really, too, because I was not flowy and this and that as some other people were. And so I kind of, and then of course, when we had to leave and go back to New York and things fell apart health wise, that your spiritual practice takes a beating from that, because then you're asking the universe, well, what did I do? Was it a bad ritual? Was it something I didn't do right with the energy? What's going on? Did I, you know what I mean? And so sometimes we have to be both physically, well, not just physically. Let me, because there are people with physical disabilities and things that are spiritual, has something to do with this, physicality. But if you're not emotionally, mentally in place, how can you be spiritually? Because you need to have that grounding to be able to tap into other dimensions or energy. And so for me, for many years after the incident with the mental health and the suicide attempt and everything, I just was not in a place where I felt like I could necessarily really trust spirit, because I felt like I was left down or being punished. All kinds of things go through your head at different points. And so now that we're here, that energy is shifting, it's changing, and we're getting older. And so for you, you're changing and re-examining and
I mean, I always have. I mean, I always try to keep an open mind with things, and I try to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out of it. Like, I like to go down rabbit holes and pursue things, but I want to
it can be fun.
Stay, grounded, for lack of a better word, in some form of reality, at least. But like, for me, it's not like about like, I mean, you talk about it in terms of like spirit and things like that, and for me, it's not that, but it's just like,
or energy. Because archetypes have energy. So whether it's an actual entity or spirit, for you, also it's energy. Because there's lots of different energy out there, and if we're not in the right place, emotionally or mentally, tapping into energies that may not be the best thing for us, if we're not able to be present in our bodies to be able to control what we let in or what we experience or tap into. And Lexi,
hey Lexi,
said, I follow my own rule. My practice is mine. Your practice is yours.
Yep.
There you go.
Very true.
Sweet and simple. And for me still too, and harming none is such an important thing to me, because I've never wanted to harm anyone or anything. And so, that was part of my struggle too, even in my early 20s. going into even my later energies was, I had a friend who didn't mind dabbling in the, well, ooh, I want that person. So, and she would buy the books out in the market that taught you how to make somebody fall in love with you or to make this or that. And she dabbled in a lot of that. And I love her dearly, but a lot of it has come back on her over the years. She has admitted that. And so for me, I always want to make sure that anything I did was for the highest good, the highest potential, that I wasn't hurting anybody or hurting anything. Um, because for me, especially with Scott Cunningham being like my first book, um, he's like the teacher you never got to meet, you got never to met. Well, yeah, never to meet. And then the teacher that I had, she was also Silver Ravenwolf's teacher. And there was a book, I think it was Selena. You have a book by Patricia Telesco. Patricia was also, I think, my teacher breeds student, or maybe a teacher as well, but also from Buffalo. So that was all core in my 20s, where they really enforced and reinstated that a true witch does not harm another. They live in harmony with nature, and with the animals, and they do right by themselves and others, and to do anything that would be to harm another intentionally. Now, aside from protection and things and stuff like Selena brought up last night, but to like what my friend did, to go and do stuff to, cause another person harm or to make them do something against their will, that was something that was very much frowned upon when I was learning in my 20s. And so it was hard, kind of, trying to, to find, not to fit, what's the word? Not that mold, but it was hard to see other people. I'm like, wait a minute, we're witches. They say we're bad, but no, we're good. But yet, why are you doing bad? You know what I mean? It was that constant dichotomy of what, we're supposed to be this, but then I was seeing others doing stuff that they really shouldn't have been doing. And so it kind of, for me, also helped kind of me step back spiritually from doing magic and from doing stuff, because I just,
I mean, I would say this. I mean, I think it's usually a bad idea when you're looking for your. I know people will probably disagree with me on this, but I think it's a bad idea when you. That's a good line. That's a good line.
I love that. No malicious intent, just delicious intent.
I think it's always a bad idea when you're looking to your religion as your source of moral character. I think that's a bad take. I know most people would probably disagree in that sense, because usually people use that as their basis of morality. But I think that's because to me that tells me that you're not being true to yourself, and you should be a good person yourself, not because of a fear of hell or a fear of like the rule of three or whatever.
Yes.
Like,
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's about it. Yeah. So.
Because I have a book, I think I gave it to a friend. I'm going to get a new copy, but Phyllis Carreau. The book is called Witchcrafting, and she states that she doesn't like the rule of the three. And she goes, and the reason why she doesn't like the rule is that there shouldn't have to be a rule to remind people to do the right thing. She goes, when you do magic, it's to honor the gods, the goddesses. It's to honor your connection to them, being their devotee, and to stray anywhere from magic practice of harming others out of revenge, envy, intent, and all that is basically a slap to the faces of those deities that they work with, and the love that they show upon you and the things that they grant you. So for her, it's just she understands why a lot of people like to still do the read and write it down, But the point, she says, really, it shouldn't be needed at all, because we should all, who do this should be doing it from a place. But, like I said, we're always going to have good and bad, within, everything.
Yeah.
But that was a very interesting point that she made. And Selena said, I'm in Wicca. Oh, I'm in Wicca, so I don't.
No, not. She says it's supposed to be not. I'm not Wiccan.
Oh,
but
I'm not Wiccan, so I don't believe in the rule of three, but not against anyone that does.
no.
Oh, there we go. I'm not. Gotcha, girl. So, yeah, for me, that was always something I went by. Whenever I would do something, I'm thinking, okay, is something that I'm going to do potentially harm another? There are going to be times when things that we need to do for ourselves may do that. But it's not to the point where, we have to just kind of be, again, mindful. I was told to watch how you word, as, help me to, get this, as long as it brings no harm to others. So motive be is, to try to make sure and keep that, for me, that integrity. It was so important. And like I said, I have a friend who dabbled in a lot of stuff, and even she admitted to me, even this up to this year, that a lot of that has come and bit her back on the ass for what she had done to others, that she felt she was entitled to, or felt angry about, or was envious of others. And to be honest, I think goes on some of the tail end of that energy a few times. So
yeah, I mean,
I take that very seriously.
I would argue that might not be the energy coming back on her, but just her. I have no idea who this is, but like it could just be. I mean, I would argue that's probably more just the mindset that you have. So
you don't believe that the energy that you put out, like that karma, will come back to you, and any sort of.
I kind level? Of.
Hey, Karen.
I mean, I think there is. Hey, Karen. I think there is. I think karma to some extent does exist. But I also think there's there's instances of that, but I think there's lots of instances where it doesn't actually
sometimes I'm like, wait, okay, after how many years now? But sometimes it takes longer. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't think it's I think it's one of those instances where if you are thinking it will. I think your belief in it will create it a lot more. And I think especially more towards yourself. So if you believe in the idea that if you do something and it's going to come back on you, then I think it will, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. And I think you're in control of that a lot more than you think you are. But yeah, and I mean, like, you even just look at protection magic. I mean, I think a lot of protection stuff that you do is really just about the mindset that you're in. The actions you do aren't necessarily the things that are making the protection. It's the mindset. Yeah, mind over matter. Yeah. Yeah, just having a couple of rocks around isn't going to, isn't what's doing it. But
unless you believe that there is an energy, a spirit in those rocks that you are connecting with, and asking them to lend their energy and protection to you, because they're very, very well made.
Yeah, I mean, if you need that to focus, then you need that to focus. I don't know if that's like what's this. Why would they want to help you necessarily? Yes. Intention matters. Intention is everything.
What Karen said too. She goes, I believe it comes back in sometimes in unseen ways at times. Yeah. Or, may take a while, for things to. Intention is 90% of that.
Exactly, Selena. Exactly.
I don't know, for me, if some, because I was always taught too that, protection, that's why when we do circle, at least when I was taught, when we do ritual, we do circle, we create that space, we put that energetic boundary, we ask our guides, our deity, or even if it's just energy that you feel that you're creating from yourself to put that protection to keep anything that's negative out from coming in, and to also just create a sacred space from the outside world where you can sit in communion, excuse me,
Yeah.
with your deity, with your energy, whether it has I can't think of the word, has a consciousness, or if it's just energetic. So, and Marucha said, karma is a tricky bish. And Karen's like, heck yeah. And I agree. I'm on that same mindset too. But yeah, I mean, what you send out, I mean, you have an action and a reaction to everything, So
Yeah, no,
I think
and
if you
I
put
think that's
out
true.
bad to people, you're going to get bad back to you. It's like what you attract.
I do agree to that, but I think that's more about the psychology of what you're surrounding yourself with. I don't necessarily think it's the energy you're putting out. I mean, I think it plays into it, and I think your belief plays into it a lot more.
Excuse me.
But
we're talking about this, and then my ear starts turning to like a horn starts to stick out. That's weird. Okay, sorry. Just very self-conscious. So,
but I think it's an instance of I think it's more about the psychology, like I was saying, the psychology of what you're doing and the belief that you're putting into it than the energy that you're putting out, because the energy, it's like any good magic. I mean, any good magic you do, it's not going to be putting it out there is good, but you also have to do your part in the physical space too. You have to set up, you can't like just put things out there and then wait for them to come. I mean, you also have to do the work too. And I think that's in everything. So, because it will work sometimes in very odd ways, in unexpected ways, that you don't necessarily want it to do. And I think that plays some part into what we're talking about here, because I do think some things will fall back on you. But like my argument about like your friend, and I don't even know who you're talking about.
And I have more than just one that I know that has done this as well over the year. I mean, I've seen people, one way, and then the minute you look away, the true self comes out. So I've experienced it on several times now on levels, which is another reason why I kind of step back away, because even sometimes within the tarot community, the spiritual community, I have seen people who claim to be of love and light, and ends up, actions sometimes speak, loudly than what. And so I'm like, okay, I keep seeing this. Every time I feel like I want to come back into a certain spiritual practice, I sometimes keep seeing these almost like reminders that kind of make me want to, I don't know, do I want to? So, again, it's all about what was it, the intention, like someone was just saying. And Karen did say it's energy expelled, received, given, and energy never dies. It's just transmutes. So for me, when I have people, I've been taught that, when you put that protection barrier up, anything that gets sent to me by someone gets sent back to them, or if it's meant for them to learn a lesson, or if it's to be taken into my energy field and transmuted and transformed into something positive by those that protect me. So I get that too. And Karen says it's exactly it's where it comes from, in your heart as well. And Maruta, I didn't mean to miss Marutas, if you're in a contentious situation that prompts you to craft, it stands to reason the negative sit you may continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I think the mindset you're in,
as it should be, just
the people you're surrounding yourself with. I don't know if this is the case for your friend or something, but I know, like, I've definitely seen this with some people that they also will as a way to deal with the guilt that they may have for what they're doing. They may subconsciously allow things to also happen to them negatively that will, helps
You mean like their higher
pay.
self saying, "Hey, I know what you did, so we got to learn."
I mean, I
That
wouldn't
kind
say
of
higher
like,
self, but yeah, I
well,
know, yeah, you know what I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm saying your subconscious, like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think it's a higher self type thing, but
so I know the one
think
time
that's
when
being, I'm being pedantic here, but about that, but
no, it just made me no, no, I liked you said it because it made me think of what Stephen was saying on his show one night when you were talking about the unconscious, the subconscious, then we have our conscious, then we have the super conscious, which is like our
yeah,
higher selves. And so
yeah,
if we're doing something energetically that we know that we should not be doing to harm another, then on a higher level, that vibration at some point is going to, say alternate live alternate why can I not talk tonight? Alternatively, say, wait a minute, we
yeah.
know what's going on, or so there's just going to be a lesson. It's going to, you know what I mean?
hmm
I
Yeah, no,
wish I
I
could
agree.
talk better.
I agree with the sentiment of that. I'm not a big fan of the low vibrational, high vibrational aspect of things, so
Mm-hmm.
I usually won't talk in terms of that. But like, I agree with the sentiment behind that, and what Lexi said. Yeah, self
Self-sabotaging
sabotaging.
shadow.
Yeah, it's very self sabotaging. I think for people.
And I think too, with low, for me, low and high no longer has a negative connotation because, like we've discussed before, and I think it's when Jeff was with us, how there have been people in the terror over the years that will say, well, other people are being raised to a higher vibration. If you're lower, you're going to be left behind. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
It's like who's to say that we're not supposed to vibrate between different vibrations or dimensions at different states of our lives so that we can learn the lessons that we're meant to learn through our connection and our pact, so to speak, with spirit or our deity or whoever it is that we work with. So that's where I was like, wait a minute, the lower it's it's um has its need, has its, usefulness, so that I mean, we can't have the higher or the lower. That's why I try, with a higher, lower, there, to me, I'm learning that there's no negative connotation between them. I mean,
yeah,
people who are high can be very negative that they assert with the low, and those who work with lower energies can be a lot better. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think yes. A lot of people who like to talk about in terms of that who talk about being in a high vibrational place generally are not a lot of aspects.
I mean, a lot of times they have good intentions. They think that they're doing right,
Yeah,
by people saying, well, you got to
100%.
strive for this. And when you open up and your connection with spirit and,
Yeah,
you connect, and it's just like, and there's no sometimes, most of the time, there's no malice behind it. But then it is when we have to kind of start watching and catching ourselves, I think personally, so that when we say something like, we have to really watch because a lot of people come to us and that may not be in a good place in life. And if they hear someone saying, well, if you're a low vibration, then
hmm
you're not you know what I mean? We have to be very conscious, of what we say, and telling other people that, well, unless you're at a high vibration, the rest are being left behind. Well,
yeah,
I mean, it's just there's got to be some sort of responsibility too. Um, you know, and
yeah.
again, they don't see that they're doing it though. Where so there are people who don't mean to hurt or intend to what
I
they
mean,
say.
yeah.
But
Generally, I come from a view, or probably incorrectly, where I'm think that people are generally coming from a good place uh, in their opinions and beliefs, but it's probably not always the case. But I don't think people mean to necessarily come across gatekeepy and stuff, but
exactly,
but
that's
they do.
like like the word of the year, gatekeeping. More people are becoming aware of it, and
Yeah.
not holding others accountable in a mean or negative way, but just being aware of that it exists. And so if you hear something that may feel like it, just kind of sit with it and, just figure out things for, yourself to make sure that resonates with you. And if it doesn't, then, you just move along to something that does. And Karen said, my raising my vibration is just recentering myself to lift my internal self to a higher level despite how badly I want to just mope all day. Yes.
Yeah, and I think I think there's semantics here that like I agree with what you're saying, Karen. I mean, like, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. And when I'm talking about the high vibrational, low vibrational thing, it's like I'm talking about a very specific thing, not necessarily what you're talking about. Because I agree, like in an internal situation, I think it's very different than I think when people are using it as a way to raise themselves up in a way
Mm-hmm.
over people. And
Yeah.
and I think this is something that's unfortunately across the spiritual community in a lot of ways, and not just vibrations or whatever. It's whatever new age flavor it is of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That people are. So
She goes, I get you. And then Lexi, I love Lexi. I love what Lexi is bringing to the conversation. I don't know. I feel like we need to gatekeep a few things. Read one or two books, then I'll lower my walls. What do you mean by read one or two books? Like what kind of books? I'm curious as to what she means by that.
we were having a conversation the other day, Lexi
Okay.
and myself and a friend Patrick,
Okay.
specifically about gatekeeping and how it might be time to start bringing it back, because people tend to think that they're experts on things now very quickly. Yeah, any book. I mean,
Oh, I
people
see
read one
what you
book and they
mean.
think they
Read one
know.
book and then they know. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's where that was. Gotcha, girl.
And it's great. We're in a weird situation now, because we're in I think Stephen may have been talking about this too at one point, but we're in a situation, a time in the world where we have like access to the most information, and it's so easily available. And I think people deep dive things too quickly at times, potentially, that they're losing that. They're skipping over some of the beginning steps, and I'm all for, like, believe me, I'm all for that. But I think you have to do it in a way that you're still understanding. You have to have that understanding of why you're skipping things. It's like if you're skipping grades in school, it's not because it's because you understand those things that you're supposedly going to be taught, not because you're just skipping to the end. You have to have this understanding of why you're doing things, and I feel like in this day and age, that's something that's lost. When occult knowledge, let's say, was kept between, I think we've gone from one extreme of where it was all kept behind like these rich white Victorian men who kept things guarded, and from the general public. And you had people like Crowley, who was a visionary at this time. I know you're not a huge fan, but
no, I'm fine.
He was somebody who was said, "Hey, it's for the people."
Same
like
thing
this
with
is for everybody.
Gerald Gardner too, with Wicca and everything, and keeping things.
I mean, he had
dictating over and stuff. So
there's argument there of what his reasons were for doing what he was doing, but I won't get into that. But yes, but yeah, no, I mean, but like, there's a whole thing about like, yeah, just getting that out there, and I think that was a great time in the 20th century. Like, but I think we are at a point now where maybe we've swung too far, where everything is open and available, and you don't have to read A through, L to get to M, and you really should. You really should understand that.
Yeah. And when I first was learning authors like Silver Ravenwolf and Patricia Telesco and DJ Conway, a lot of these authors, Scott Cunningham would expect you to say, okay, right away, what's the good stuff? I want to do, magic now. I want all the secrets and stuff. And it's like, no, they really told people, start writing down, what is it that you expect to learn? Are you willing to spend the time to learn? Not taking any shortcuts, that you have to learn how energy works. You have to know. I mean, when I was younger, it was all about building blocks and not rushing through. And nowadays, when you go to any bookstore like Barnes and Nobles or something, the shelves are just flooded with it's just, I mean, all these 101s, and not knocking those particular, but a lot of them I've looked through a few of them, and it's like they're losing, they don't include what I remember when I was younger, which was very important, of making sure you understand the history and not just jumping into it willy-nilly. Just, back then it's just so different than now. Yeah, I really, foundation was important, understanding what was important, and just a lot of this is, well, here's this habits, and you go out and you do this, and these are the tools and nowadays it's like you really don't even need tools. A lot of people, like with Scott Cunningham, they taught you tools are fine. They can help us direct our energy or direct our focus and our intent during magic, during ritual, but everything that we need is within our bodies. A finger can be your athame. You can ground yourself with your hands, with your energy, all of the others. So for now, it's just more because of it's such a mass market society that we live in.
Yes, it's a commodity now. A lot.
I mean, I remember the backlash, and I was a part of it when Silver Ravenwood put out her, teen witch kit, and it had,
I remember that.
And I'm just kind of like looking at this, going, oh, excuse my language here, but what the is she doing? And
making money. That's what she's doing.
And when I came back to New York and I talked to, my teacher, which was her teacher, I asked her, I go, Bree, I saw that. And she goes, well, something you kind of got to understand too about publishers like Llewellyn and everything. If you want to keep your job with them and they want to publish your work, you kind of got to do what they want you to do. And pretty much between the lines, she was pushed to do it. And I was like, well, kind of, in a way you do this. So there was also a lot of push from, publications. I mean, like today with paranormal, there's a lot of people who do paranormal investigations that refuse to work with a production company because they want you to write a script. They want you to overact this. They want you to flare something up. And so a lot of it is all just pushing for social media, materialism, making the money. So I digress, but it's a lot different now, than it was kind of, back then. But already you can see that, starting even back then, once the ball started getting rolling. And metaphysical and stuff has gone from the very back of the store all the way up to pretty much the front of the store, where you find your cards, your tarot, your Wicca books, your crystal books, and everything now. It's a positive and a negative. Now you don't have to hide in the back and be afraid of ridicule. It's right up there up the front. People, this is what's, coming, and but at the same time. And I'm behind on chat, so I'm sorry, everybody. So let's see, where do I miss? Let's see. So they pretend, so Janet Lee said, or they pretend to read a book, and then, they're masters and gurus and everything. SCC, a few things I was thinking more like just being egotistical about it for selfish reasons. I believe in education and steps over time. The ones that are serious stick around and the rest fall off. but in our world, you still have to seek it out to an extent. And I like there's so much superficial knowledge.
Yeah.
And Jess says, I read so many books when I was first learning. I started with Crowley and moved to, oh, you went to LaVey. Okay. Then I tried Wickham. It took me years to find what was right for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I was all over the place too. I tried all that.
We talked a month about the history of tarot before covering the first card.
I'd be very curious to know what the history you talked about before, but because so many people, I think, are. I mean, people talk about history in a tarot in a very odd way, a very untrue way a lot of times, I feel, but nobody really knows.
This is okay, Karen. I was looking for Karen's comment. We talked, is this what right here? We talked a month about the history of tarot before covering the first card. There are a lot more shows that are popping up on like Tubi and YouTube and stuff that actually are taking a serious look at, and they explain, how, they kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Dissuage, is that the word? That the tarot cards started in Egypt, but a lot of that knowledge has filtered and eventually came into, and they're saying that, and one show I was watching was saying that, no, they're thinking they started in India with the elaborate cards and the artwork, and then they kind of went through the Egyptian area where they got flavor there, and then they made, so it's kind of, it's
all speculation. I wouldn't, but this is one of the issues of social media, especially nowadays. People see a video and they think it's accurate because it's a video, it's on, somebody put this together, and like that's where I feel like there's a big issue, because there's a lot of misinformation being put out there now about all this, and it's only going to get worse with AI and stuff.
Yeah, but I love some of the AI art that's coming out, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a proponent of AI. I've been using it for years with work and stuff. I'm not anti.
I have a deck right here.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the decks that use it, but that's just because I just don't like the style more than, than everything.
Said, my astrology teacher signs aren't covered until chapter 10. We cover polarities, elements, modalities, octaves, and extent before we are even before we are able to even say signs. So it sounds like her teachers are in depth as much as possible. And I like that Karen is looking for that and likes that, because a lot of them just want to jump right into it and take off, and it's like, no, you got to pull yourself back. And I can even say for myself, how really can I call myself a tarot reader? I know the basic knowledge. I have an understanding of the cards, and I use a lot intuitively also with how I read. But I'm not in the same vein as like Tom, Stephen, and other people that go all the way back and start with the pips and the history, and then move through the Kabbalah and move through this where you have all that additional information.
Yeah, but that's a different. I mean, I think there's two different types of not two different types, but like
I don't know if I'm that deep into that, but I still enjoy. So
there's those of us that are into the esoteric nature of it and the occult symbolism and things like that, and I don't. You don't need to be into all that to enjoy the tarot and to use the tarot. I think it depends on how you're using it, what you're using it for, and all that. But I mean, you don't need to be like so. You don't need to have all this like Kabbalistic knowledge and planetary knowledge and all that stuff. I mean, like I'm no expert in any of those things. Lexi knows I'm terrible with astrology, and I am not a big astrology fan.
I understand a little bit of astrology, though, with the major arcana. That was one day after a show, one of our Friday shows. Allison sat with me, And she goes, pull out your majors really quick. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, this is she goes, the minor, not as much with Zodiac. She goes, but here, let's look at, and within, probably she spent about 15-20 minutes and said, okay, this card, see how this is Aries. See, this is how this is this side. And she was able to help me connect the basic astrology signs to the major.
Yeah.
So at least a little bit here and a little bit there, just, so that it doesn't become, because for me, especially, Stephen's knowledge and understanding.
Stephen has a very
tarot is just incredible, and yours as well, and how he knows about the principalities and how it connects to the Kabbalah and how it comes to this Teferet and this. My brain just completely
Stephen is extremely well studied.
Over. And so that man has passion for it. And you also have that passion to read all these books, to go that deep, to dig that far. Whereas for me, I'm just kind of like, that's why I don't know if I'm really considered a tarot reader.
Yes. Okay, shut up.
Well, because I'm not that passionate to dig that deep into.
But
even though I know it could probably improve readings more, it's just, Yeah,
don't say that you're not a reader, because that's like.
Well, I'm a reader, but
there's just different ways and different things. There's plenty of people that don't look at it the way. We all look at it differently, and that's one of the beautiful things about tarot. We can all look at the same reading, and yes, while there is that basic understanding of, or there should be that basic understanding of what the cards generally mean. Exactly, Lexi.
Exactly.
It's nice to. I think this is what I like about it, especially when you start getting into the esoteric nature of it and the occult aspects of the cards. And obviously some cards are more so than others, but there's just so many layers that you can go down. It's so, the depth of it is insane, especially even when you start looking at the older, even just the old Marseille decks and stuff. It's hard to argue that it's not an esoteric system from the get-go, that it's not, that it wasn't just
people have trouble
games.
A lot of people in our community don't like the pip decks. They have problems with it, but you know what, for me,
it's because it's not easy to read.
For me, it's not hard. When I have a pip deck and I look at and I'm like, okay, these are they're arranged in this way. I can see the energy pushing this way. I can see and for me, I don't know what it is, but I can read them just fine. If not better. It's really, I think it's just the way we have an understanding with how
it's the way your brain, it's the way you process things. And
I have a couple that I'm just like, I have no problem. They're on top. Yeah, the 4 sticks here. You don't need people in it. For me, that's all about foundation. There's that, and it's just weird how some of our brains can, see and understand something. Well, people with astrology, boom, they can get all that. Like Karen, for me, it's just like my brain just shuts down. I can't, but for some people, the same thing with the pips is like, I can't, it's all just a bunch of lines, this and that. But when you know what the numerology means, then you can use those pips to interpret that energy a little bit differently. And that's why I like different pip decks too, because it adds another layer for me.
Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, especially if I'm reading on online or whatever, I would prefer a non-pip deck, or at least something that has a little bit more visual cues in it, just because I think it's easier to read for other people like that, to things to point to help move the story along, the narrative, I'll say. But honestly, there's some pip decks that I love a good Marseille deck, and there's some of them that I just don't resonate with. And like literally, I mean, you look at a lot of these Marseilles, their pips are very similar across the board. But there's little subtleties that I think that just resonate differently. Like, I mean, you can see in the wands, there's different growths happening at different times with different card numbers and stuff. Like, there's a lot. Yeah, it can be an unpleasant thing to read with sometimes. I agree, but I think it's hard for people when people are used to just the RWS and the visuals, the visual cues that are on the cards. I mean, I think it's hard. I think for me, it's because I started with the Thoth. It's different for me, I guess, but I think it just comes in from where you're coming from, and then you got people that start with Oracle cards. They're coming in, a completely different way than.
And there's some people who think that you can't give a good reading with Oracle cards. You can only give a good reading with tarot, and I don't think that's necessarily
true. You can give a good reading
true.
with anything. I've seen friggin' Toadstool Tarot give like a fantastic reading with just rocks he found outside, like just gravel.
Really?
Yeah, like I mean, he does. You can read with anything. You can cast anything. You can, read it with anything. It's crazy.
Just said I started with a pip deck, and that was a mistake for me. I almost gave up and went back to my playing cards, but I got the but the playing cards
playing cards are pips.
I can't figure out playing cards. The pips I get, the playing cards I'm like, what? I can't, because I wanted to do different things with for me that. But again, we're all different. Not Tom bragging with, of course.
I'm not bragging. Heather started with that too. She won't admit it a lot of times, but she did.
Oh, that was because of the poetry class. I didn't know there was anything else. And I remember seeing the Thoth deck, and then I remember seeing the RWS and going, ew, sorry, people who love Pixie, but I remember seeing the cards and going, oh my God, these colors are ugly.
That was my reasoning too.
And when I would look at, the Thoth deck before, I gave mine away for my reasons, I looked down, I was like, oh, I like the colors. I like, there's some things that I was kind of like, but for me, I was like, oh, definitely. And then, but yeah, Pamela was a good artist. It's just maybe she didn't have the kind of money for certain colors or to have the kind of palette a lot of artists could afford, because paints a lot of that time were extremely expensive, and the tubes were only starting to come out. A lot of times you had to get your pigment mixed for you, created for you. You had to have it put into pig splatters, carrying stuff. I mean, she probably used whatever she could afford that she had on herself at the time. I mean, if she were here today, she'd be like, "Oh wow!" And I think her paintings would have been more reflective of what she,
maybe not. I don't know.
That's something I can ask her when I'm with her.
The big thing is, I mean, there's 40 years between the creation of the soft
Lexi,
deck.
I'm not picking on Pixie. I think she was a great illustrator. It's just me being a fellow artist. The colors were just, for me, garish. There was just I just wish she could have had maybe someone supplied her more with. See, now I don't even like the Beatles. So.
Don't mention that. Don't mention that.
But no,
we fought this morning about this.
I think her art, was good. It's just for me the color palette. I'm a colorist. I love color, and so for me, I think if she had more access to but I mean, maybe.
I would argue that the original. I mean, like
Lexi,
the original.
Doesn't like me now. Oh, come on, girl. Come on. To me,
Lexi gets annoyed because I'm constantly telling her how the Beatles are overrated.
Thank you.
And she gets very mad at me for doing it.
Well, that's two people know. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't a bad band. No, they had good music.
This is my argument. They're overrated.
Lexi, I really liked John on his own, though. He shined. even though he wasn't the greatest person, you know, music wise though,
He was a
he
terrible father.
outshined the rest of them.
Like, we know this.
George and him, to me, Paul had some great stuff too. Ringo, don't even get me started with him. But for me, John, I just wish we hadn't lost John when we did. He was starting that solo career, and I really liked his music. But because for me, I'm more of a Zeppelin girl. Stones, to me, a lot
also overrated. So I'm with you, but they were also overrated though.
You said Led Zeppelin was overrated?
Yes. I mean, they stole half of their music.
I would not believe the blasphemy. But yeah. So again, we can all agree to disagree, right?
Yep.
So, but when it comes to guitar playing and everything, no one can beat Jimi Hendrix, though. I mean, I love Jimmy Page, but so
he's the only.
Now we're going into music now, everybody. Sorry.
Well, it's a Heather show, so we're going to talk about music. But my argument would be, the only silver lining I can say about the John Lennon thing is that at least he wasn't making like a Dancing in the Streets terrible video, like Bowie or somebody. There were some bad choices in the 80s by some of these musicians,
but yet the 80s were the best.
I think they were the best for other music, yes, but for the newer today, people coming up,
are still bad. There's still a lot of bad videos being made today, but yeah. When I saw that video, I was like, but see, I like Bowie's music more in the 80s. To me, growing up,
I have a very small window.
Stuff, yeah, but
I have a very small window for my Bowie appreciation. Also, what annoys Lexi, I'm a very small Ziggy Stardust error.
Lexi, really, Rick James Super Freak video? That was a good choice.
I'm with you, Lexi. I'm with you.
But it was still the times, and we still love the music, love the videos.
Lexi's gonna end up leaving soon because of this Rick James hatred you're throwing out there, Heather. That's not good.
I'm not hating on Rick James. He has some serious problems though. But if it wasn't for the Rick James, we would have had the Mary Jane Girls. That was a great album he produced. Hey, Lexi, I'm from Buffalo, so he's a native. So I'm not totally hating on him. We've had a lot of good music coming out of Buffalo, so I hope she's. Oh boy, I love an anti-hero. Oh my goodness. For me, if we're going to go into music, I really wish we hadn't lost Prince. Prince was, yeah. But anyway. Yes, see, the Mary Jane Girls, I had their album, and I have a couple of the songs still on my playlist. In my house. Ooh, 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 ooh. So, yep.
You're winning her back.
Yep. I had the album. The Leather Queen song was funny. But anyway, I think it was called. But yeah, the Mary Jane Girls were fun. But, he really did hurt a lot of people because of his drug use and, some of the women and stuff. I wish we hadn't lost Freddie Mercury either. So
I will never understand the Queen thing.
Here. From tarot to music, but hey, I guess we kind of go, where the flow's going. But still music, dance, video, it all connects to the same elements that are in the tarot. We were doing that music, show with Rain, Jackie and I. What songs do we think of in the tarot when we hear certain songs and this stuff, and it's really interesting performers, that we see, in the cards. Like for me, the devil would definitely have been Prince. I mean, he was, yeah, but a couple of others. All right. Power ballads, Tom. What? Oh, did we lose Lou Reed?
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, baby. Take a walk on the wild side.
Yeah. Yeah, Lou Reed was a tough one. That was a tough one.
Yeah. Tom Petty, never saw that come that early.
Yeah.
Glenn Frey. We love the Eagles. Eagles is another band that we listen to. So Shannon and I are really bracing ourselves. We're losing, people that we grew up on. They're going to be going, and it's hard. When we play the radio and it's like, oh man, or you see them perform and they can barely,
Yeah.
move and stuff anymore. I mean, like Robert Plant, he's still singing, but he lost his voice. When he goes on stage with Alison Krauss, he can barely, it's so sad. It's like, oh my God, when we lose some of these really big people. I mean, I can't believe the Stones are still going. Holy crap. It's got to be all that drinking and drugs that embalmed them or something.
Yeah, pickled.
But yeah. For me, the Stones, Lexi, don't get angry at me. For me, I felt like the Stones brought a lot more, more, if not more, to, or like them and other bands to rock music. So again, for me, if someone were to say Beatles or Stones, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, Stones, but they are one of my favorite songs though of all time is a Beatles song, and it's Let It Be. That has got to be one of the most beautiful songs I have ever heard. It still moves me. I don't even have to hear it. I just speak it and I get the chills. That was an incredible song, that was written. So, did you see Paul Simon on Colbert? No.
I didn't see that.
Is he in? Yep, Brian Wilson. We just lost him too. Yep. Ozzy's doing one last show. He's really, yeah. And then Sharon had her face lifted, and I didn't even recognize her. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
but Jack, their son, really is trying to get them to believe in the paranormal. So Jack, seeing Ozzy and his mother, Ozzy and Sharon on Jack's show with him trying to say, look at these paranormal videos, and his dad's like, bull lightning. No, fucking bull lightning. Or it goes, but yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, but Jack's into it. So let's see. John and Paul wrote a lot of early Stone songs too. Really? So I just learned something. Very cool. So
that's why the Stones are better than the Beatles.
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh,
Nothing.
Oh,
Didn't say anything.
I thought you said the Stone songs were better than the Beatles, but
I mean, that's good. It's hit or miss too with them, honestly, in my opinion. But
I mean, there were a lot of bands, the Yardbirds before Jimmy, created Led Zeppelin. You had Cream. I mean, my God, Ginger Baker, basically kick any other drummer's ass back then. I know Keith Moon was all big and everything, but to me, drummers like, Ginger Baker, man. I mean, Ringo, don't even get me going on Ringo Starr.
I mean, Ringo gets too much hate. I think the Ringo hate is overrated. I'll say that. I don't think he's as bad as he gets. But
well, I'm just never really impressed with really anything. But oh, Lexi. I mean, Rick Allen has one harmony drums better than Ringo Starr. I digress.
Yep.
But you know what I will say? When I wanted to learn drums, and the guys in my class wouldn't let me. You're a girl, you don't play drums, let the boys do it. I had one teacher, music teacher, that let them do that to me. The other said, when they're on the set, you go on there. So he taught me how to do a basic beat. Finally got I was going to give up. And then
Lexi.
Leopard had come out, and I saw that, my mom's boyfriend was like, well, what do you mean you're giving up playing? Dude, here's got one arm. And I was like, what? And that's how, so for me, he inspired me to, to keep on playing. Sheila E. Oh my God, Sheila E. can drum circles around half, even, the young people heard this day. I mean, she's an incredible drummer. Let's see, what's wrong with Ringo? I love him. He's hilarious. Okay. Let's see, Neil Peart.
Neil Peart's good.
Yeah. Peart was his drum. Oh my God, his kit was just. And yet you have drummers who have just a couple of toms, maybe a floor tom, and in Quebec, and they can,
Ginger Big.
But yeah, so really, a lot of people don't. I miss drumming. I wish I could get back into it. I got Nathan a fancy Bluetooth CD player for his birthday.
Ooh, we'll have to talk about that. Oh. I'm curious which one you got.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you get him his other gift? Question. Oh, that was you. So I don't know what that is. Oh my goodness. So we still talk about music.
There's nothing wrong with Ringo, Maru. Heather's just jelly.
I'm just jelly.
Yeah, you're just jealous. Jealous of Ringo and his drumming skills, his timekeeping.
Okay. I'm not saying I was the best drummer ever. If I had stuck with it, I probably could have been very good by now, but it just ended up not being, but for me, I just really wasn't. When I started learning drums and I was watching Gene Kupka. Now that man could drum.
Yeah, agreed.
Holy cow. If anyone doesn't know who he is, he was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 50s, 60s. Man, that guy,
I was going to say 40s, 50s.
40s, 50s. He could
I can't remember exactly, yeah.
Ass on those drums. And I was just like, oh my God, So, yeah. There are a lot of other, drummers. I don't know if anybody ever heard of L7, Dee Plakis. She was a really good drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Let's see. No, I couldn't find it. We'll get it sooner or later. The Sopranos is our recent relationship activity. So, okay.
Yeah, you got to finish. You got to finish that, Lexi, so we can talk. Because I can't say anything about The Sopranos with you now because I want to spoil too many things.
Oh, I didn't like those kind of shows with the mob and people get. That just wasn't my jam. Jess! The last album I got of theirs was the one after Bricks Are Heavy. Something. Oh.
That was probably the last one I got too. I can't remember the name of it.
They had another one that had the song Andre on it, which wasn't too bad. Yeah. Smell the Stinker. It was Stinker, something like that. No.
It was.
Smell the Magic was one of their.
Hungry for Stink. Hungry for Stink.
Yeah. But after that, I think they did a couple, and
they had a few, but
and I loved Vixen. I thought they were a great band. We just lost one of them to cancer. I think it was the bass player. She died of breast cancer. I think it was. Yeah. There was Luscious Jackson. That was another female band.
Big fan of Luscious Jackson. Yeah. Hey, Sushi.
Hey, Mama Sushi. What's up, girl? How are you and baby Sushi's doing? But yeah, the 90s weren't bad. 80s and 90s. But then you get into the 2000s and things start going to hell in the handbasket really quick with music.
You're just getting old. You're old and cranky.
No, there's music.
Yelling at kids on your lawn.
Well, when everything's like auto-tune and everything's like and you have to have every other word blinked out and stuff and whatnot. And it's just the same urban crap from year to year, and all the girls sounding the same, looking the same.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of garbage, but there's a lot of garbage in the 90s.
But there are a lot like Hozier. I love Hozier. Take Me to Church. Oh my God. I wish he had another song like that. That, I still like his music, but to me, that's, yeah. Who else was there? Back in the 2000s, Howie Day, Jack Johnson. We don't even hear about, what's the band from the 90s that everyone toured with? They were like the Grateful Dead. Come on. Oh, it was one of Jane's favorite bands. She had a picture. Dave Matthews Band.
Oh God, they still touring. They still tour.
I know who has a new album out too. Still is Michael Franti and Spearhead. I love that guy. It just still good music. It's positive. But yeah, I find a lot of bands, and for me it's songs. It's not necessarily bands. It's like hit and miss for me. But there is still some good indie stuff, that's out there. So, oh, Amanda, yes, I did. And when I go outside, when the sun hits it, the purple and the red just kind of light up in it. So, yes, I did not want that. See, I think I like one of their songs. I can't.
Yeah, I was never a real fan.
It was hit and miss, but yeah. Let's see.
Like the Dead, I have more issues with their fans than their music.
So. I wasn't really a big fan of the Dead. I like a couple of their songs.
Yeah, they had their moments, but not really.
Yeah. I like that song, Shuffling Up to Buffalo. It's a long, strange trip, so I like that one.
Yeah.
That Gray song, Edge of Gray or something.
Touch of Gray.
Touch of Gray, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good song. That's a really good song, actually.
I am a huge Fish fan. Seen them several times. Hoping to in July. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, Tom, have you heard of? I haven't looked recently. Do you know if Martin and Dave are going to continue on, moving forward without Fletch and do any more?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I know Pink Floyd just released another one. Yeah.
I mean, were they pushing this tour as the end? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything, and I haven't gone looking, but I was wondering what they were going to do, moving forward, whether or not, they're going to be, because they're getting up there too.
Yeah.
And
that's a shame too. I do like them.
It sucks when you, like I said, it sucks as you get older and you want them to keep looking and sounding the same as, when we were younger, and I know Cyndi Lauper, this is her last tour, she says she's got and she's what, I think she's, pushing 72 now, and
yeah,
she's got her health things as well. And Madonna, well, she doesn't even look like Madonna anymore, unfortunately. Yeah. But don't tell Ramon I said that. Though he does agree, though. I think there was a band that played Dead and Stone covers in Cleveland. My girlfriend and I went out to Dead. Really? Okay. And another band, too, that I, and not just because they were from Buffalo, but I do like the Goo Goo Dolls.
I mean, their earlier stuff was definitely more accessible to me, at least. But
Name is my favorite song. Every time I hear that, I just get shivers all over. And sometimes I cry because they're writing about stuff when they're in their 20s that we're actually going to be experiencing now in our 50s. And I cried. I'm like, I miss my 20s. I want to be young again. Know what I know now. But I last time I saw a picture of Johnny, he's trying to have that plastic surgery too. And his face, he doesn't look like, oh my God, Creed. That guy, the lead singer from Creed. Oh, what a jackass. Oh, someone took a video. I mean, he was, oh my goodness. I can't even. I don't know if he got himself, he's changed himself around. The Doobie Brothers. Yes, we like the Doobie Brothers. And Michael McDonald. Oh, they didn't sound so good. Oh, well. But hey, Michael McDonald made a lot of hit songs for people in the 70s and 80s, lending his voice. He's got a very unique voice. I think my favorite song of the Doobie Brothers is Blackwater. I love that song. Shan's a Doobie Brothers fan too. Oh goodness gracious! Now we're talking about music, going down that rabbit hole. I love it. Music makes me happy. Sometimes it makes me sad. Like I can't really even listen to like Tori Amos anymore because every time I do, I wish she was back looking like she did in her 20s and being in that state of mind in that place and experiencing those emotions that she was seeing and whatnot. But
Yeah.
as she's grown older, the music has changed. It's not like how it used to. And I go to relive those old songs, and it takes me back down. I'm like, oh my God, I can't go there. It's just like, oh, but yeah. At least I got the memories. I think my last real favorite.
A friend of mine just met her.
You told me that. I would
Yeah.
still love to meet her.
He said she was really nice.
And tell her how much she got me and a lot of. Well, she knows how many women she's got through after being very open about her assault, and singing about it, and fans coming up to her backstage in tears and stuff, just telling her.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and the music that got me through, especially going through with my breakup, and what my mom and everything. Her music just got me through a lot of dark places. And I think my last one that I really liked that she put out, the covers, the redos of the male songs wasn't so bad. I think Scarlet's Walk might have been my last favorite, although I did like Abnormally Attracted to Sin. She had some good songs on there. Unrepentant Geraldines weren't too bad. Then she had another one with her dark cover on, but it's kind of like hit and miss. She did, but now that she had her, I've noticed that when a lot of the few female musicians I listen to started having kids and whatnot, their music really started changing. And I'm like, oh no, here we go. Now we're doing the.
I don't think I've listened to anything of hers since Boys for Pele.
Really?
Yeah.
Tori Amos got me through chemo. Oh wow, Jess. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know anything about her, but I love the music. Oh, Creed. Yeah, that one song. There was that band. What was the name of that? They were called Live, I think. A woman dies and another woman cries. You were saying about a woman dying in childbirth and stuff. I mean, that was really, and of course, two of all people, too, Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Man, that woman had. I mean, she was. Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah, I remember a couple years before she died, she was found in when she was missing, she was found very close to me in some real rundown motel.
Yeah. She lost her son. Her son took his life.
It was after all that. Yeah.
Her mother apparently did a number on her. And so a lot of all that just got to her, but she always had some incredible music. When we lost Reardon from the Cranberries.
Yeah.
I can't think of her first name.
God! I just had Dolores.
Doris.
Yeah.
Doris O'Riordan. Just losing a lot of people, man. That's why mental health is so important to talk about, folks. Dolores. Because we can save a lot of lives if people were more comfortable and open to talking about it, and talking about mental health. So I got my new counselor. I saw her last week, and I sit down with her, and she goes, so you're from New York? And I said, yeah. She goes, what part? And I said, we were living in Niagara Falls, but Buffalo. I'm Buffalonian. She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I thought I recognized the accent. And I said, accent. And apparently even west of New York has people, we have accents. And she says, yeah. She goes, that's where I'm going on my vacation next week. I'm going to Buffalo. I said, why? And she goes, my partner that I've been with, she goes, he's from Buffalo. I'll get out of here. And she said, no. And I go, what part of Buffalo? And she goes, well, it's a suburb She goes, you've heard of Williamsville? And I said, that's my hometown. That's where I grew up. And she's like, get out of here. And I'm like, no. So of all,
it's a small world.
I mean, yeah. And she goes, of course, she goes, I can't tell, my partner about you because of the law, the HIPAA law. She goes, but yeah, you're talking about places. She goes, oh yeah, I've been to Clarence. Yes, she goes, but she goes, your voice, reminds me of my fella. She goes, yeah, you guys both have the same accent. And I'm like, okay, I guess we do. So.
You do. You have an accent.
I don't hear it unless I'm trying to be like when I hang out with Nancy or Tom, or not Tom, or Steven. I'm like, I tell you what,
Well, I mean, but, that's an accent. That's an accent.
Back to Massachusetts, and in no time, I was there only a week or so, and I was talking about going to the park and the cop, and it just, you pick stuff up, you don't even.
Yeah, it's such a bad accent. I hate the Massachusetts accent so much.
Tell me, I couldn't even understand when I went there to visit. I couldn't understand. I was trying to find ways of getting on the subway. The guys were helping me. I couldn't understand them. And these are the guys that helped with that worked there. I couldn't understand them. It was so heavy.
It's heavy, man.
In some areas. Mm-hmm. Ooh, excuse me. So what's this? Yes, Heather. Accent.
Accent.
Okay. So, but yeah, it shows what a small world, we live in. So
yeah.
Well, we're at 8:45 my time. It's what? 11:45 your time. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. In the mood to do any readings?
We could try. I've barely been reading lately, so.
I haven't either. Hi, you want to say hi to everybody? Mm-hmm. So he's been hiding because we had to have someone come and fix the toilet yesterday, and he goes into hiding for a day or so now. When we have company, he goes under the covers. So let's say hi. There we go.
Hello.
Say hi, Uncle Tom. Say, how was Bose? How was Gimli?
They're doing good.
Yeah.
They're not.
We don't get to see Gimli anymore, huh? Yeah. So Jess is jetting for the night. Have a great night, you too, my dear. So, yes, he is a big boy. He says, I weigh 12 pounds. The vet said, I got to lose some weight. I said, yeah, don't be on. So if anybody would like a reading, you know what to do.
I pulled out the Murder Crows. I haven't read with this in a long time.
Isn't that the deck you're going to read with do readings with Allison with, or is that a different deck?
Yeah, that's it's this one.
Very cool.
But I haven't pulled this out in forever, and I was looking at my shelf before, and I was like,
Your Ethereal. I've got my Black Obsidian one, Obsidian Veil by Vixen. So, hey peeps, anybody got any questions? It's been a while since Heather's been able to. I thought maybe we might do readings last night, but oops, did I just do what I think I just did? I did. How about that? How badly did I do it? Oh, not too badly. Okay. Because what I've been doing is separating my court cards from my deck so that when I read for individuals, my cards, and I have an understanding now in my guides that, the court card will be the person I'm reading for. So there's no guessing. And then give me what I need to know with the other cards. And then, start, for me, this helps me better understand what I'm seeing and what I'm reading.
That's good.
For some people, they're like, no, that's not the fit for me. So far, it's been good. So we have, 3 people in chat now. Everyone's going to bed. I know it's early here, but it's late there.
Ooh.
But guys, it's Saturday night. Let's see.
That's an interesting question, Amanda.
There we go. I had a dream last night. I was being initiated as a witch. I take it as I'm slacking spiritually. Can I have clarity on this? So being initiated as a witch.
See, I take it as the opposite, but
yeah, why would you think that is a sign of lacking? I'm curious, but I will pull.
Yeah, I'm definitely pull on this. But my initial reaction though is that it's very different.
Ooh, perfect, because I've got the obsidian veil. Let's pull a goddess, or not just a goddess, but a female archetype here. His head is nearly as big as yours. My cat, just about. Initiation would imply readiness. Exactly, Maruta. So, I had to last night was being initiated as a witch. She would like to have clarity on this, Amanda. Sorry about the oh, I should probably mute myself, huh?
That's right.
But you don't have any furniture. Everything echoes really loud. Let's see. Well, I looked up the meaning, and it said I may want validation and need a confidence. Interesting. To me, it seems like you already have all that. I picked an interesting card, though. This is. Oh, okay.
Let me pull from something else. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull from this.
The name Jasari. Oh, that's a beautiful name. Jasari kept coming up too. A similar word means bravery or ruler. Interesting, my dear. Gotta believe in yourself. Oh my goodness, yes. Let me see. This is the first time I think I've ever pulled this card from the deck for somebody. Yeah, okay. You already have your answer, Amanda. You already said it in the chat, but I'm still going to read for the information I have on the cards for you, my dear. So, Tom, were you ready to go?
I'm not ready. I'm thinking something through. So if you want to go.
Okay. So, Amanda, you got Anastasia Romanov. She is the one that they thought got away when the Tsars, the Romanovs, were assassinated. And here it says, Anastasia, lost princess of grace, my spirit defies the shadows of uncertainty. So right now, she's already, acknowledging this the sense of uncertainty. And you already mentioned it here. I take it as I'm slacking spiritually. You're still being uncertain. I think the stream was reaching out to you as a reminder that you have all that you need. That there has to be confidence, especially in your power, in your understanding, and in your confidence, and having that confidence in yourself. Right here, born on June 18th, just a couple days ago too. It was her birthday. St. Petersburg. Anastasia was the fourth and youngest daughter of the family. They were executed by revolutionaries. Over years, speculation and rumors circulated that Anastasia might have survived. So lots of tales and investigations. It says here, Anastasia is a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, there's always room for hope and growth. So, looking at this and reading that just now with the uncertainty, any past tragedies that you've had in your life may very well be what is holding you back. And one of the cards I'm going to share that I got is the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups is always, and in this deck, the cups are relatively either alongside or behind. So things in the past, you have the cups also here in front of you. And this is typically the card where people are either so absorbed into the past and past emotions or experiences, they don't see the potential or the potential opportunity that is there right in front of them. And this cup too looks like it's among a pile of bones as well. So it's kind of like leaving. There's a song called, well, it's not called, I don't remember the name of the song, but the lyrics are that always catch my attention. It is pick up the bones, but leave the soul alone. So it's like you can pick up those bones, you can see, but don't let that anymore affect your soul. Let the past rest. Let it be. Have that. There's that cup of potential in front of you, and your overall energy from that deck as well was the Mage. You have the Power Girl. This is the Mage, the Witch. As above, so below. You have everything that you need. It's all right in front of you, but you got to relinquish the past and be able to move forward. Your core card that I pulled for you for your energy is the Knight of Pentacles. And so this is the suit of that's slow moving. The knight is the knight that takes their time, studies things, examines things, is very slow. So it feels like this is what you have done. You've taken time with preparation. You have done the study. You have taken your time. You know that this is something that you want to do, but you have to let go, like her with the past. Let that be whatever tragedies that were. There is always hope for room and growth. And also here, continuing with Anastasia, it says, encouraging us to tap into our inner resilience, embracing our story, and finding the strength to rebuild and rise again. Again, with those cups. Let me just look here because sometimes Vixen likes to repeat himself. Reconnect with your inner light, for its essence cannot be extinguished by external events or hardships. So again, embrace your worth, let it guide you forward, illuminating the path ahead. So you've studied, you've taken your time, you're moving forward, you're learning what you need to learn. Whatever it is with the past, let that go, sweetheart, and embrace your power and move forward with what you want to do. So that's what I got for you, my dear. I'm going to give you over to Tom. I should have taken that down.
So I have a weird reading. In some ways, I think it does align with what Heather is saying. And I think where I'm struggling with it is because I'm hung up on my pre-bias of what I'm thinking about your dream, that it is that you're ready, and I think to some extent you are, but I think there's something that you need to think through. So,
yeah.
I pulled from Murder of Crows first, then I pulled one other card from the Ritual Tarot. But yeah, so I pulled. Where's my camera? There's my camera. Queen of Cups.
Ooh, she's cool.
And I feel like this is representing you in this. Or the ideal of what you feel like you need to be. this is the stability and the emotional clarity that I think you're looking for in whatever that initiation in your head was, in your dream was for. There we go. I got to hear Hierophant here for you. I think you're looking. This stability is saying that you think that you need this to get that stability. That you need that system. Whatever that system was that you were initiating into. For, and I'm not arguing against that. You may want to. I don't know if you're looking into anything specific outside of your dream or anything like that, or if there was anything else that was kind of pointing to what that it was that you were initiating into. But I think you're looking for that. Normally, for me, the Hierophant is a negative card, but that's just my own bias to the card. But I feel like in this instance, it's coming through as that authority of that knowledge center. There's a balance here too, because with the crows, there's a light and a darkness to both of them that I think is important. There's a symmetry to this card too. The next card that I pulled was the Four Swords, which tells me that like this is where it's throwing me off, because I feel like this then aligns more with what Heather was saying and with what you're thinking in your interpretation, that there's time that is needed for you to meditate on what you're doing and where you want to go with it. So you are ready. I do think you are ready. And why I think that is because even though, so the card that I pulled from Ritual was the Five of Cups. Which I find interesting in polarity to the Queen of Cups. In that there's a stability and a confidence here that you're unsure about here. You're pondering something in your past, I think, something before you. But why I'm saying that I think you are ready, you just need to do the meditation and the spend the time, is, I mean, look, you got the hand of what is the hand of Miriam, or Hamza, the hand of Fatima. Like, this is your protection. That is, like, what is that? The eye of Providence, really. That is, you have protection here in what you're doing. So you don't need to worry about what other people may be saying or what you're thinking they're saying. I think there's a lot of emotionality here, obviously, with the Two Cups coming up. But yeah, long story short, the TLDR here is you are ready. You need to think about what it is you want to do and spend that time. But I think you're there.
Awesome. And you're just a little blurry. You've gone.
Uh-oh.
There you are. You're back. Awesome. So Amanda says, I feel so disorganized and I want to be dedicated to my soul and beliefs. That might be what the Hierophant is about. Is she's still kind of maybe seeking that
Mm-hmm.
that, a teacher, a mentor, or,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
with that Knight of Pentacles, it shows that she is, slowly taking her time. And we're always going to be learning. It's like no matter, when you're right, oh, I'm a witch, that's it. I don't need to learn anymore. It's a constant, practice of learning, developing, and then moving on and sometimes starting over. So I think your Hierophant goes really well with and that's such a beautiful deck. That's the Murder Crows deck, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. It's a great deck. It's a really, really great deck.
And she says, I definitely need to meditate and quiet down. Well, Amanda, hon, you're pregnant again. And you got that little one. So I know that it's got to be very difficult for you to find time for yourself. But, yes, meditation is very important. And I feel wiser than my trauma. Yes, like
Mm-hmm.
I am ready, but I allow myself to be mentally and spiritually lazy. Yeah, I think
we're all guilty of that.
There.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always worry that what they are saying, they always question me and mess with my altars, except, well,
I'm assuming you're talking about your living situation. And yeah, I can see that. And I think it's a hard thing. I think what you need to think about, if that's an issue for you, I think what maybe you should think about is, you don't need an altar.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need.
It's all in here.
Exactly. It's all on the inside. But if you really have make yourself a travel altar. Make yourself a little box that has all the things in it that you want, that are, and keep that as a spiritual place, and keep that away if you need to, so you don't have to worry about people touching it and whatever, mocking it or whatever, and then pull it out when you need it, and or go elsewhere, go to nature somewhere, and if that's your thing, and just go somewhere where you can have that alone time with it.
Somebody in our new community, I don't know, I don't know if Selena's still listening. I think it was somebody in her circle that I recently met that we're talking about creating earth altars where you go out into nature using the earth, just making a spot, putting a stone here or putting something there that represents the elements or whatever is, and doing an altar and acknowledging and connecting spiritually that way as well, so that you're using nature itself. And like in your situation, Amanda, you don't have to worry about somebody messing with it.
I'm a big proponent of the idea of having that sacred space for yourself, in where we're in a fairly small apartment right now, and honestly, with my cats, I can't keep things out the way that I'd want to without them jumping on it, and because they run the house, let's be honest. So they'll just go and knock shit over, and I couldn't leave any offerings or anything out easily. Same here.
No,
you're welcome. Yeah.
And hello, Julie.
Thank you
for joining us.
Hey, Julie.
And something else too, now that makes sense, with family, you mentioned family trying to mess with your altar, or make fun of your beliefs, or kind of cut you down. Think of Anastasia. Her family was cut down by people who did not like them, did not want, what I mean? It's kind of like that. You got that adversary. Don't let them cut your spirituality down. Don't let them take that away from you. You're stronger than that. You can survive this, and you can still flourish. And in the book, it said Eternal Flame with her name as well. And now who has the song Eternal Flame and the Bangles? But it is a beautiful song. So that eternal flame of keeping that within yourself, and don't let them. I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But like Tom said, a lot of people are doing things like with boxes and things, and they decorate. They don't necessarily know what that is, and they just keep it in a secret little place, locked away, where they go there when they have their time. They do what they do, and then close it and keep it out of prying eyes, you know. And there's also spells too, Amanda, to have your grimoire and your book of shadows or whatever it is that you keep from eyes. I know there were spells when I was younger that you could recite to keep prying eyes that are not meant to see that from seeing that and from interacting with it. So that might be something else that you want to look into. And thank you, Richard, for putting up Tom's channel.
Thank you, Murph.
And we have somebody else joining us. We have Magic by Moonlight, and that's Lila, right?
I'm bad with some people's names.
I have met so many new people. I can't. I'm having.
I don't know if I knew. I don't know if I've met Magic by Moonlight yet.
Well, Magic by Moonlight. If you haven't met Tom says, nope, it's not Lila. Oh.
Way to go, Heather.
Okay, way to go. Way to go. Here, let me. Oh, I just had my cup on this, but so Magic by Moonlight. What is your name, my dear, so that I remember it? Unless you don't give it out, that could be.
Yeah, that's always a possibility too. See, Heather's doing the right thing and writing it down so she remember, and I never do that.
I had a list starting before I left, and then
years ago, Gerald told me to keep a list, and I.
Oh, I don't know this name. Oh, how beautiful, Charlize.
Oh, okay. Have we met Magic by Moonlight? I feel like I do remember the name.
Chats that I know Selena's been in, but that is a beautiful name.
That's what I'm thinking. It was maybe on Selena's.
But you go by Shay. Okay.
So see, now you're just being obtuse to confuse us.
Oh my goodness! So welcome. We do have a request for reading from Madame Maru. So Maruta, I have your cards ready for you.
I do not yet.
So yeah, I'm ahead of. That's how we keep up.
It was just a general, right?
Reading. Yep, just wanted a general. So Maruta, you got Boudica. Why am I not surprised? Look at that. You got Boudica. Though we may, as it says here, his print is so small. Though we may be outnumbered, our spirit shall never be conquered. That kind of feels also too very much in a way of Amanda's reading too, with the prying eyes and the mess around. We will not be conquered. We stand tall. We stand above. And she is out here, and we had the eternal flame for Amanda with Anastasia. And with Boudica, we have the unconquered flame. And so we all know that she was the warrior queen of the Iceni tribe in ancient Britain. When her husband died, the Roman Empire sought to annex their lands. But she, rebelled and gave the Roman Empire a good ass kicking. Unfortunately, their momentum, her momentum fell short, and she was defeated in battle. But they're all talking about her fiery rebellion, how it teaches us to confront the injustices and limitations that seek to confine us. So, boom. Absolutely, sister. So this is at this time right now, finding inspiration to rise against oppressive forces and fighting for our freedom. The challenges you have faced may have temporarily dimmed your light and shaken your confidence. But even in the darkest moments, your voice matters and your actions can spark change. So this is about reclaiming spirit, remembering to be patient and gentle with yourself. So this is a journey of self-discovery, and it takes time. So this is about reclaiming your confidence. You have the power to ignite the fires of change and create a brighter future, which goes along with your core card for you, my dear, the King of Wands. And that's all about fire. And this is about leadership, being optimistic, and having vision. So you have this power within you. You have this, not just power, For some people are really good at being activists in certain ways. This one here, it feels like you are looking for your inspiration, your motivation in fighting against what's going on, especially in our country, not just in the world. So this is a born leader, and capable of bringing joy and fun and success to his coven, but he's also very clever. So this is about taking that bravery, that cleverness of yours, that fire, that passion that you have, and leading with that. People will follow, people will see, people will listen. He is very well. The King of Wands is very good at plans and being able to execute and swiftly and efficiently employ them. So between the King and the Queen of Boudica here, there's that beautiful balance of masculine and feminine that you embrace, and that power, that sword that you can wield. So going to the other tarot cards, your underlying energy again is justice. You are seeking justice. I don't know if there's something currently going on in your life where this is something very personal, not just, what's going on, in the country, but there is some sort of injustice that you are still rallying against. You're still picking up your sword against. And you have the power to be able to efficiently execute and implement plans, but you got to believe in yourself. And that justice is coming from what? A place of pain, of hurt, the Three of Swords. So whether this is past, I think it's like a culmination, Maruta, of things in personal life. And I know you have spoken a bit about politics on other channels, and a lot of fears or of what and anger that a lot of us express with what's going on in our country, and all of that is just weighing very heavily on you, and you're seeking that justice. And Boudica is there to remind you that you have that flame, you have that sword, you have that power within you, and that King of Wands creatively looking for ways to inspire others, to rally others, to also rally yourself. So you are taking action, you are motivated. So yeah, I'm going to just leave it at that, or I'm going to repeat myself. So this injustice, this imbalance, this pain, that's the energy moving forward with this. And that's what I have for you, my dear. Give you over to Tom.
So again, I feel like I have a fairly disjointed reading here, and maybe this is just me not reading for a while.
And I just say that because you're an excellent reader, and a lot of times when you've said that a couple times in the past, and it's come out complete. No, yes, it makes perfect sense. So I'm just sliding that in there.
Yeah, no, I know. Right
out there.
It's just hard sometimes when I
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I feel like it makes sense to me right away. Mm-hmm. And then there's other times where it doesn't. And this is one of those times. And I'm going to take a slightly different take here on this, because I think there's some similarities to what you're pulling, but in my opinion, this reading is distinctly personal, I feel, to you, Maruta. I don't think it's necessarily about the external. I think this is about you, potentially about, I think it may be about your relationship and the way you're looking at it right now, to some extent. So the first card I pulled was the Knight of Cups, which is always which is an interesting card in this, because the way I'm a big proponent of directionality in cards and the way that they interact with each other. and I feel like it's this is a card that is very much kind of. I don't want to lose the camera, so keeping it focused. I think this is a card that is very much. This is, to me, my initial thought with this is like sometimes when I'm seeing this, I think of obviously it's cups. There's an emotionality there. There's usually something either about creativity or about relationships, about like the romanticness of this. But now what I find interesting about this is that it's facing forward. But the horse is kind of hesitant. I'm thinking this is you. Now, the next card I pull is now, which I found interesting, is that it's the King of Cups.
Interesting.
And number one, the fact that it's two court cards in the same suit is telling me that this is about you as a pair. Obviously, it's the King of Cups. You can't help but think about the masculine energy of it. But I'm also not necessarily sure that this is. Oh, that's interesting, Maruda. You're saying that the King of Cups is Daniel, or I'm not sure when you said that. Sorry, I just saw your.
It was the Knight of Cups.
The Knight of Cups. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's interesting. That might change things a little bit for me. But I'm not gonna let you change where I'm going. Now, again, what is interesting with this deck, with this card, is while this card is facing you and it is speaking to you, he's side-eyeing. He's looking to the next card. And also the crow. The crow is facing the next card. And then what it brought me to was the Five of Swords. Which obviously is a card of conflict generally. It's you. So I don't know if there's something going on right now. What was interesting is while I was trying to think through this in my head, where this was going, Heather had pulled out the Justice card. Mm-hmm. and said that you were speaking, that it was speaking, and she at that point even said that this is it, there's something personally going on there. You're looking for balance or justice, and I think this may be speaking to that same thing. Cat butt.
Yeah.
So, like I did for the last reading, I pulled an extra card. I pulled from the ritual, and ultimately, I ended up pulling the, I think it's the Nine of Cups.
Wow.
Which, again, interesting that
lots of cups.
Yeah, we're still very cups heavy. Actually, both readings have been very cups reading and swords. Swords have been, I'm thinking, the same placement for both readings that I just did, which is interesting. But, see. But, when I see this card, this is the card that's telling me that, like, you know what? It's going to be all right. It's all going to be cool. Or, there's things will calm down. You will, it's wish fulfillment. There's, you're not at the 10 of cups, but you're at the 9 of cups. And I feel like there's the disagreements will be, as you mentioned, that you've had some disagreements then. So that's probably what I'm seeing here. The resolution is soon. And I think both parties will be happy here. I think everything will go back. Everything will be copacetic. Okay. So that's what I have.
Wow. Thank you. So yeah, looking back, yeah, the Three of Swords, yeah, very personal, very heartbreaking. And also too, um, you had the Justice. I was just thinking the Justice card, and then you had, what was the last one you just had? Not the Four of
It was the Five of Swords.
the Five of Swords. When you were mentioning, seeking the justice. Now, I mean, I had
No.
the Justice card. There's the swords, and then with Boudica being, picking up the sword again for justice. So yeah, finding that balance, finding some sort of justice. Yeah, kind of like
No.
lay down your arms, kind of like the like to the extent of how much do you want to this battle to go on, how much do you want to fight to get to
Yeah.
almost kind of like wait a minute, she shared some more here. I told him tonight that he could admit that he sometimes doesn't wish to speak with me, and I still love him. I know relationships can be very hard.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And if I remember, it's a long distance one too, right? You're not.
Oh, it's a long distance
I
relationship.
think, which always is complex.
Yes.
But what's interesting to me is in this reading too is that even in the final card in the everything's forward facing. Everybody's facing to the right if you're looking at it. So they're all facing to the left. But that's, to me, that's progress. That's going forward. So I think it's all about that moving through this and getting to that comfort and satisfaction that the Nine of Cups brings you.
See that. Well, much love to you, Maruda.
Yeah.
So we still have 5 people watching. It is 12:30 your time. How are you doing?
I'm good. I can probably if we have one more or whatever, I can do one more. But yeah, it's probably.
She says
Probably call it a night.
that time. So if anybody else that's joined us doesn't want to read, just give us a. I got to get going. Good night. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for letting us read.
Bye, Amanda.
Honey. Love to you and Baby Sushi and Baby Sushi number 2.
Yeah. Baby Sushi and Baby Sushi 2.
Yeah. And okay, he said good night and goodbye. So yeah, I guess that is it for the night. So Tom, you got anything coming up this week? Any guest spots or anything fun, maybe? Or just work and work?
Nothing this week. Nothing that I can think of. Yeah, I got so much work going on. We're in the middle of like two big projects that will be hopefully ending soon. So I've just been swamped with that. But yeah, so I've just been hopping on when I can. But I'm trying to think. I know maybe not this week, but
we did get a request for another reading.
Oh, okay.
All right, do you want to call it a night, or are we good for?
No, I can do one more. Yeah.
Okay. So
if moving to Alaska, but that's a good question.
So finish what you were sharing, and then we'll put cards.
Yeah, no, just we've mentioned this on a couple of different things here and there, but Selena and I will be doing a show at some point when we get our new Kickstarters in that we were waiting for. We a new Travis McHenry deck, yeah, the Baphomet Tarot. So we both ordered the full set, which is 2 decks, the book, and all that. So it should be coming next month. So the plan is tuned. So we'll be doing a live on that. I really do want to do some stuff on my channel. I've been lacking on it. It's really bad. It's been a long time. I think it's been 8 months since I've posted a video. It's been long, sad, but yeah. You'll have your new channel all flourishing again.
We'll see.
By the time I can get around to actually doing content again. But I do plan. I do plan on doing like some lives on it and stuff.
And having guests, maybe.
I'm planning on having some guests potentially. So yes. I also want to do some like interviews and stuff, and maybe not do them live. I'm trying to work through some things. So I like live shows, but I think that they can be distracting for getting to answers sometimes.
See, for me, I have a hard time doing a recorded video because I'm like talking to myself at my screen, and I'm like, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have an editing thing really, and so I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to start all over. So for me, I prefer the live so that.
Well, I'm thinking like doing like pre-taped interviews, so like with people. So
okay.
So they can be very like concise. Not everybody wants to sit and watch a 2.5 hour stream, all the time.
I can't do that. No, I gotta take a break. I've noticed being there. For me, YouTube was my escape for where I was. It kind of helped me.
Now you have
and now I'm here, and it's time to be like, okay, I can't follow as many, or I can subscribe or go and click likes, but if it's more than 15 20 minutes or so, then it's just like I have to really pick and choose. And
I mean, it's like I used to be able to sit and watch a lot of streams during the day, but I've been in a lot of meetings lately and stuff, so I just can't just have it on in the background anymore as much as I used to. So it's it's complicated at times.
Yes.
But so I want to do I'm not saying short, but maybe 40-minute things, or so. But I got to figure it out. But without the distraction of a chat, maybe do them as premieres or something, so there is still a chat element if you want to. But
that would be cool.
Yeah, so it's something I'm thinking through. I really want to focus on I know one of the things that a lot of people talk about is they really want to understand people's practices and things like that. So I really want to talk about that to some extent. I know for me, it's not something that I like to talk about necessarily all the time.
Well, sometimes our practice has to stay private because
exactly,
to our source, or especially if we use a spiritual name or have certain things that we use that people, that stays private, so that because there are people that know how they can take a spiritual name or certain things and use that to manipulate and do stuff too. I mean, I've known people who told me they can do that as well. So really, certain things have to stay, private. I totally get that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know people who work with specific deities and stuff. Sometimes they don't want the deity or whoever doesn't want that out there, and things. So, and believe it or not, as somebody like me who's not a big deity person, it's something that I'm researching a lot of lately. So
Maruta, there are some folks. I've been through YouTube now for about going on 4 years, and there are people I will eventually probably invite back over from the old channel. My subscribers, yes. Of course, again, like we have said, we move through circles. People come together. There's a season and a reason for get-togethers, and so I just kind of want to filter. So I'm slowly figuring out myself here now, my channel, and when it comes to certain individuals, I will, let them know. But most of my subscribers that I had, I was over 1,000 subscribers, but I never saw anybody. It was rare. And there's some that I, hope that we'll be able to pop back in, like Shenanigans. I think she knows. Britt knows my new channel. Hannah, Three Sisters Dancing. So eventually, when, yeah, I figure, people who are meant to find my channel will find it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will have to pop on, to my old channel and also leave, let people know as time goes on. So, but yeah, so yeah, just a lot of people like Joyful Journey and a lot of them, if they're happy to come back, and Isadora, Rossi, Rosanna. I know Flowing has not been well. Carmela, I hope she's doing well. I don't know if she knows the new channel. So yes, so Maruta, if you happen to see Rossi or Flowing, please feel free to let them know. I really do hope Carmela's doing well. So Shay, I have for you. It's interesting what I'm looking at here. The wanting to move to Alaska will be a right choice. I usually start with, the Divine Feminine Archetype card, but I'm looking at, and we were talking about what Tom's, when you look at a court card, you're looking at the direction. So this is something I have learned from Tom. This is how we learned about tarot. We learned from fellow readers. And I'm looking at, you got the Knight of Cups. And the Knights are all dragons in this deck. And he is looking the other way.
Yeah.
And the Knight of Cups with him is like, okay, the Knight of Cups, again, can be very emotional. They wear their hearts on their sleeves. They're artistic. They're passionate. Very loving. Kind of like, again, the idea of the romantic partner. I don't know if Alaska is for a relationship. I'm feeling more like, so I'm going to go jump to the female. I got the Fae card. So for me, it feels like this is something for on a spiritual base. I'm just going to go with what I'm getting here. So I got the Fae card for you. And the Fae card says, I embrace wonder, for possibilities unfurl like petals in a gentle breeze. So I'm feeling like, I want to say relationship, but then when I look at the other cards, I'm feeling like this is also a relationship in discovering oneself, one's spiritual path. I feel like you really want to go. The overall energy is Temperance. And I love this Temperance card. It's all about the patience, finding balance, being able to be grounded with our emotions. But the top card, I feel like this is something that might be you're holding yourself back. There's some sort of uncertainty for you. You may want to reconnect with the Fae. You may want to tap into that intuitive psychic self of yours that I'm seeing here, because it's balanced. But that Eight of Swords is that self-imposed. Typically, it's that self-imposed card where we have the ability to move through, remove the blind from our eyes. This deck here, it's an AI, but what's really, it's like, it just feels like these are past ghosts, ghosts from our past. And they're kind of like clinging to the individual, which would be you. And it's time to let go of the sword, let go of the ghost. For this is they're loosely holding on, but there's still a tether to you. there's something that needs to be released for that energy to start flowing. The Knight of Cups, again, looking towards the past. I don't know if this is. I think it's the Knight of Cups in this is actually looking at the Fae. And so for me, I know Alaska has a lot of power. There's a lot of vortexes there. And a trip like this is a very spiritual one. But when it says here, if it will be the right choice, I think you know what the choice is. You just have to let go of that self doubt or those things that you feel are holding you back from doing that move, from moving forward. I'm looking at the Fae here in the book. Sometimes mischievous and whimsical, other times carrying warnings of their unpredictable nature. They are said to be guardians of the natural world and protectors of ancient wisdom. They're talking about, make sure that there's no disruption, that they're not offended because they will cause disruption, play tricks, exact revenge. So you don't want to disrupt the balance of their nature. So for me, I feel like this is work. I feel like you're being guided to them. I don't know what elementals are connected with Alaska, because Alaska's that state, that piece of land that connected, both continents, and what brought people over from Russia and Siberia into the Americas. There's that very ancient that bridge. So
The land bridge.
I'm being shown that bridge. So something, it's like a crossing. It's a return, returning to roots, returning to heal emotions. Things have been planned. Things are balanced. Everything is ready to go. There's a balance, but there's still that Eight of Swords that's holding you back. And they are beckoning you to explore the hidden realms of your imagination, inviting you to embrace wonder and the extraordinary. So, whatever is holding on to you, it's very loosely, they're lightly tethered. You just have to let go of the sword, let go of them, and be able to move forward into that. And that's what I have for you. I hope that helped. Let's see. My mouse just went. Okay, so yes, it is. Both is a way. Amen. Both in a way for relation. I'm in the path. Okay.
That makes 100% sense.
I'm thinking fear more than anything. Girl, I don't know if you know me or know my story, but I just drove from Western New York all the way across country to come here to a state I've never been to before. This is my fellow state. I trusted him. I finally, after all these years, said, okay, I can let home go. I had to let things that were holding me there, back. I had to let them go. I had to have closure. I had to say my goodbyes. I had to walk away from friendships, relationships that were no longer serving me. We came here together. That was a long, scary drive for me, but we did so. Again, letting go of the fear, moving through it, and I'm seeing that magic and everything awaits for you. This beautiful balance, maybe even tapping into more of your intuitive ability, artistic ability, just maybe not more like refining and redefining just popped into my head. And so I'll stop there so that Tom gets his his reading.
I mean, it's going to be honestly a lot of the same. I mean, I think it's interesting. The first card I pulled was the moon. And when I pulled this, I immediately was thinking this is about a relationship, just basing off of the visual of the card. I mean, obviously the moon, I don't know what is driving the idea to move to Alaska, but I feel like there is this element of intuition or intrigue to it. Now, I never look at the moon as being an overly like a negative card in any way. I mean, I know some people look at it in that way. I tend to not. I feel like this is a card that usually speaks to, uh, you know, fear of the unknown, because there is this unknown element there. But it is it's a sign of growth, and it's a sign of finding your path there. But what I found interesting is that the two crows on this are seeing eye to eye. So I feel like there is, while there's an agreement, it's a tentative agreement between the two of you on this. I think there's a hint of tension, maybe. I'm not sure on whose part, but I feel like there is a hint of tension and trepidation there. Now, to continue the oddity of the readings tonight, I now got another Nine of Cups, but this time with this deck, not with the ritual deck. Now this is with the Murdered Crows. So again, I overall, I mean, I'll just right off the bat say that I do feel like I forget what was your exact question was, but it was, is it a good thing or something?
Yeah.
And to me, it's a resounding yes, it is. Ultimately, it is a good decision to make. There is. It's going to be an interesting experience for you. I do feel like, looking at the cards, there's a heavy spiritual component here. I mean, even in this card, even in this, it's a hermit type character here. There is going to be, and I think being in Alaska itself is going to have that there's going to be that element there, just for the separation that you're taking from, from the rest of the US, or it's got to be an interesting, I've never been to Alaska. It seems really, really interesting. There's a lot of culture there. There's a lot there. I think there's a lot to learn. I think there's a lot to learn from the land. And what I found really interesting is, like, I was initially, like, immediately when I saw this card, I thought about the Hermit, and I thought about that element of it. And then I pulled the Three of Pentacles, which, right, initially, I mean, obviously you go with the basic idea of this, that it's about, collaboration and teamwork and stuff like that. So I think, yes, as you're going as a pair, and I think, doing it together is what's going to make it work. But what caught my eye here, and I had to I had to go Google it, because I wasn't 100% sure if I was just making shit up in my head. But this this element of here really reads to me like those totem, like there's specific Alaskan totem poles, and this feels like that to me, so much. And that just told me that there's a connection. I don't know if you have like any like blood relation to anything, or this is a completely new place to you, but it feels like whatever it is, it's calling. So
he's Alaskan.
Right. There you go. So I think that helps make sense of that. And again, to have another card that just popped up before, but this time in the other deck, I pulled a, kind of I guess kind of like a clarifier to the whole thing of how you should, and what I was thinking about when I'm pulling this is how you should approach this. And, because I pulled it earlier, had to come up again, the Four of Swords. And in this card, I find it interesting with the way this card specifically is, I am not a person who's a higher power type person generally. But I will say with this, you have your, this is a card it's about contemplation, meditation, rest, in preparation to do that action, to make that movement. and here there's something. There's this figure, this angelic type figure that is looking over it all. I can't deny that placement in this card. I don't know what you believe. It's generally not something I believe, but I'm thinking that this is something that's specific to this reading. So I think, yes, you need to sleep on it a little bit, but I do think it is still a yes. I do think that it is a good thing ultimately. I think it will bring you new ideas. And I just realized your name is Magic by Moonlight. I just put that together, and I pulled the moon. Jesus. Yeah. Yes, it's a fucking yes. So you fucking Moonlight Magic. It's yes. It's a yes. That's it. I didn't even.
That was a very emphatic.
Yeah, I mean, like that's me. That's my cards telling me, you idiot. Just how more specific could it be told to you? Yes.
Bobby
yes.
would have been proud. It's a fucking yes. And yes, Madame Maru says, ask your guys to send you your dreams. And I don't know, Shay, if you work with the Fae or if you work with the Earth Elementals. But if you don't, I feel like that they're waiting for you there. And when you pulled out the moon card, I looked over at my deck and I said, I wonder what my card would have been next if I pulled another card. And interestingly, I got the sun card. So the male, the female, them going together. And this was also depicted like as an eclipse of, and in Alaska, there are times of the year when, the sun and the moon are both on the horizon together. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Nice.
But the beautiful light leading the path, leading the way. So I thought it was kind of cool. The moon, the sun. Yeah, I love that. And let's see, what did she say? Learning about them, but right now I'm working with Kate. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, the Fae, I embrace wonderful possibilities and furl like petals in a gentle breeze. I love how he writes. So yeah, connecting with the nature spirits of that land. Whether they have pretty little or wings, though some of them don't always. I mean, I have my Brian Froud that I'm, starting to read and work with, and I really don't see any, fairies in this deck that too much that look like that. So, yeah, I just think there's something very deep, very beautiful and spiritual, like Tom was saying with like the totem. And I don't know if you saw that, but he's Alaskan himself.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
she's never been there. So same thing.
I mean,
I was never been here. Yeah.
I'm curious if you're working with Hecate, if like, this is a crossroads moment for you, and I'm curious what she's telling you. Because it's a powerful choice. I mean, this is something that I'm struggling with too, and similar to what Heather just went through. Like, we're thinking about upending ourselves in probably not as drastic a way as Heather, but to some extent.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get them out here, y'all. I'm just for me, it's just such a beautiful area energetically and spiritually.
Yeah, I mean, there's this. That seems great over there. Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned Hecate though, because like, yeah, she's telling you to go too. I think.
Yeah.
Hecate is somebody that I was like, I've been really fascinated. I said earlier, I don't think you were on at the time, Magic by Moonlight, but like I'm not a deity person generally. To me, I'm very analytical and archetypal about things. But I've been open the last couple of years a little bit more to the idea of deities. Whether they're true external beings or not, that's a whole other issue that I don't even know. I'm not going to get into it, but it's interesting. Hecate was kind of the first thing that was kind of calling to me, but I've been recently really intrigued by Lilith, and I've started reading this
Lilith.
She of the Night which is all about Lilith and practice with Lilith, a devotional practice of sorts with her. Two volume set. Beautiful. So it's going to take me a while to get through, but I will be getting through them. I'm working on them already. It's interesting. I'm not sure if Lilith really is the answer, but.
And Maru says deities are energetic focal points.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how I kind of think of it, Maru.
I wasn't either, but she was slapping me with signs. So if you're getting slapped, Tom.
Yeah. The problem is I've been getting slapped by several, and it's all these darker, feminine deities.
Although you did have a book earlier this year you were sharing on Instagram about Avalonian.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
Yeah.
So
which actually I don't know if you ever seen this Moonlight, but this is, let me grab something for her 1 second.
Sure. So the belief creates a spirit entity. Interesting. Yeah, I think Tom's talked about that, him creating his own. There's a certain word for it when you create a spiritual, energetic being.
Yeah. So I'm a big book person. So I don't know if you ever seen this, but the Hecateon is a book that's nothing but rituals to Hecate.
Have you shown Bobby that?
I don't know. Bobby should be aware of it, I would assume. Maybe not. But no, I never shown
Selena.
him. Yeah, I'll have to show Selena. I don't know if she knows about it.
Servitors.
This is a really beautiful book that this used to be really hard to get. It used to sell out like immediately. But they finally, of course, after I finally grabbed this edition, I was able to get my hands on one. I lucked out and timed perfectly with when they were releasing one. They now have a edition that is always in print, so which is good. They needed it because there's like 5 different like limited versions out there of varying amounts of information in them, and then this book is it's really well done. I mean.
Shay said she was looking into that, so
yeah.
she's aware of the book. And she's like,
yeah, I really recommend looking into it. If you can find it anywhere, it's online. You can get it. I think Miss Gatonic Books sells it exclusively at this point. But if you ever see one in the shop, like definitely peruse it, because I feel like it's got some really interesting. It's just a series of rituals and tools that you can make to work with her. And
it goes, yep, they sell it. There you go.
It's really interesting.
And deities, grand servitors. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I was trying to remember when you were, because she Maru mentioned the belief creates a spirit entity. So, and that you've talked about your agridors and I guess your
egregores and servitors and
so
tulpas, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of that. I do feel like, and it's kind of like what AI is. AI is kind of like servitors now. It's these little programs you're creating to run tasks for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar.
What could possibly go wrong with that?
Yeah.
I was looking into Miller's class, but it's super pricey.
Yeah, Jason Miller does some really, really good stuff. But his classes are expensive. I will say the guy who wrote the Hecateon is Jack Grell. Supposedly his Hecate course is really good. And it is, I believe, cheaper than the Jason Miller. So something to think about, but I really like his approach.
And Shay wanted to thank us both for the reading.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
Good luck.
Keep us up to date. Because I've been there, girl. I'll give you all that support because I know how it's hard to leave someplace that you've known and then go to someplace that you've never been before.
Yeah.
So, but it's life changing, and it's been life changing in a very positive way. And she says, I sure will. So awesome.
Yeah, that's like a regret that I have, is that I didn't do something like that earlier in my. I mean, but you went to Arizona and stuff too, so
Hmm.
you've done this before.
Well, I went to Arizona on a I had a good grade average, and my parents were separated. My family couldn't afford me to send me to Siena. You want to go to the ones in another country, but I couldn't afford that. So I knew that I had family from Arizona, and when I saw the brochure for, transfer, for a semester or two to
Yeah.
Flagstaff, I was like, I saw the picture of the mountain, I was on it. And I said it took me 8 years to get there, which is interesting because I was there for about 8 years before leaving and stuff. So and then when you add 8 and 8 together, you get 16, which is the amount of years that we lived in New York before we came here. So it's very interesting how numbers do play, you
Yeah.
know, in everything. And we've been here now 2 months. We've left New York for 2 months now, and a little still obstacles and struggles here and there, but otherwise, um, yeah, it
Well,
was the right decision.
you really. I mean,
Thank you, Maru. There's
I
the
don't
link.
think people understand like the braveness that it took, the bravery that it took for you. I mean, you guys, you had to get rid of a lot of your stuff. It was a lot
It
of
was
sacrifice.
heartbreaking stuff I had to leave
Yeah,
behind.
and but like as I told you before, there was something you had to do. I mean, you had to get out of there. So, and I
Mhm.
knew it was going to be the right decision for you. But like you guys, you just dropped yourself somewhere with like literally no true plan. You had a plan, but no true plan of.
Well, we knew access to that they were going to help us, and we held on to
Yeah,
that belief
exactly.
that
But
they
that's,
would, and they exactly did that.
yeah, that's a leap
And
of faith
so,
to,
mhm.
but
Yeah, we had to get out. And now my New York not license, my New York insurance has now gone from $237 a month to $88.
oh God, kills me. Oh,
Or a little more just because of the renter's insurance I added to it got me a little lower. So I mean I'm saving. My old State Farm agent called me just to make sure that the plates and everything was all taken care of properly when she saw the transfer. And I told her, I go, Allison, my God, because her name was Allison Crowley. I go, Allison, my God, guess how much I'm saving? And she's like, what?
yeah.
And I said, yeah, over $1,000.
It's very
With
expensive to
Allison.
live over here.
Yeah, because people are putting out more claims than the money they're taking in.
Yep.
So, and my accident was well over 2 years old, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
I'm driving a, 13-year-old car at this point, and I'm still paying. I'm paying, I think, I
it's
don't
ten
know what the
years.
new price is, but because it just switched to the new year, but I'm paying like 120 something a month on a 13-year-old car that, like it's crazy.
You'll probably be paying well under $100 here,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and there's no
probably.
sales tax.
Ugh.
Tom, what part of New York?
I'm in
Tom's not even.
Jersey.
He's a Jersey
I'm in
boy.
Jersey. But I'm right on the border. But I'm in North
He's part of the
Jersey.
Jersey Shore.
But we have the same issue. No, I'm not by the Jersey Shore. I am not.
I hated
Uh
that fucking show. Oh my
yeah, but
God. I
those
was
were
like,
all New
how fucking
Yorkers.
stupid can you be?
Those were all New Yorkers. They were not from Jersey.
Were they really? Yeah, I
Yes.
believe it.
But
So,
yeah, no. I'm literally right outside like New York City area. So it's expensive. It's fucking expensive.
hmm yeah, that's why I keep telling him, come away,
Yeah, I
come.
really
We'll start a commune. There's actually a goddess temple not far from here in town, and they're actually planning a retreat next month. Oh God, I wish I could go. They're going to Glastonbury. They're going to, connect with the Avalonian energy, and they're going to Glastonbury. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place, man. That's
the New Jersey part of New York. Yes,
it kind of is. It's very interesting. I could tell stories.
I bet.
It's
I went to Atlantic City once in my early 20s. I wasn't impressed.
No, it's a garbage place. Yeah, it's really not good.
And this was back in '93. I was like, okay. We're like, let's go to Atlantic City. Okay.
I mean, that's yeah.
New York was a lot more fun in my 20s at one time. I've been in New York City only once, but man, good time.
I spent most of my youth in there in the city.
Went to the Metro, went to the Guggenheim, went to the, it was my art group, and we got to see some of the most incredible pieces of artwork. The MoMA, oh my God, the Kandinskys and the Georges and all of them, yeah. Yepers. So, well, it is
way too late.
Way past your bedtime, young man. So.
Yeah, I mean, on a normal night, this would be when I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
So, but thank you everybody who joined us and let us read, and anybody who watches on playback. Thank you for taking time to watch with us. And Maruja says, I went to New York City with my Girl Scout troop. I went with the Visual Arts Board in college and paid for our hotel. The only thing we had to pay for was to help with gas and to get into the galleries and buy our food. But our way was paid and our hotel was paid for. And
that's nice.
Yep, got to go to Boston. And when we went to Boston, didn't realize that there was a Monet retrospective. I was in absolute tears. I was beside myself. I've never seen so many gorgeous. I mean, it was just, I got to sit in a room, that dimly lit room with the water lilies. I mean, it just.
Yeah.
And then when we went to Cleveland, they were having a Gauguin retrospective.
Oh, wow.
And so those years in college were the best, even though personal life was kind of a mess here and there with it. It was just, college years were great. So.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody rest well. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And Monday, I will be back with Nancy and Ginger Faye. Is going to be joining us to talk about Faye-based female energy that is connected with summer, with the solstice. And we'll be talking about Morgan Le Fay, Danu, and we'll see who Nancy wants to discuss. So we'll see everybody Monday at 5 o'clock for that. And that's 5 p.m. Eastern, which will be 2 o'clock my time. And so until then, thank you, Tom, for hanging out with me.
It was fun.
I had a lot of fun. And so, and stay tuned for that show we're going to do. You never know when we're going to announce it. So, gotta stay tuned. So, subscribe to Tom, subscribe to my new channel, spread the word, and we'll talk to y'all later. Good night, everybody.